Okay, after we do this slate, everything is going to be
Yeah, everybody's cell phones are
available
off.
for everybody to watch, so.
This is a frame?
Good on me, yeah. Cool.
Okay. Hi, Sandra.
Hi.
I guess it's October 9th, 2015. It's Friday. It's about 11:30 in the morning. We're in the city of Long Beach, county of Los Angeles, just to lay all that kind of stuff out. Just go ahead and state your name.
My name is Sandra Ritchie,
And Sandra, what's your birth date?
2767.
Okay. In order to videotape you, I have to have your permission. We're audio recording this and we're video recording this, so I need your permission to do that, just to make sure that it's okay with you.
I am here on my own free will.
Okay. My name is Nick Morrow. I'm a licensed private investigator in the state of California. I'm a retired cop. I'm going to be kind of managing the interview, and we're going to talk about some of the things that have come up in your discussions with Mr. Downing. So we'll go through all that. The purpose of this is to get your side of the story, your description of events that happen, maybe asking for some additional information that maybe the police don't have, and that type of thing. So we're going to kind of explore all that, and I'm sure we're going to be talking for an extended period of time. Before we get started, has anybody made any promises to you that you'll get something out of cooperating with this interview?
No.
No threats, no consideration.
No.
How about anything to do with any legal case that you're working right now? Has any lawyer promised you anything, and you haven't received any money or anything like this?
No.
So you're by your own free will.
Yes.
So we've covered all those bases, and nobody's making you do anything today.
No.
Okay, great. So just kind of, you've introduced yourself, I've introduced myself. Mr. Downing, if you'd like to put yourself on the audio to identify yourself.
My name is Stephen Downing. I'm a retired Deputy Chief of Police from the Los Angeles Police Department. I'm a resident of Long Beach, and I also write a column for a Long Beach newspaper called The Beachcomber.
Okay. Sandra, you contacted Mr. Downing recently about some experience that you had with Detective David Stroman of Long Beach Police Department. He's a narcotics detective there. Can you go just kind of describe how you followed that story, or how you became aware of that story?
Well, I saw that he had written a 3 or 4 section article or whatever that was ongoing, and when the last one came out, I decided to email his editor, or the editor of the paper, and ask how I could get in contact with them, and left my name and number.
And why did you do that?
Because I wanted to talk to him about another side of what really is going on in Long Beach. Like, I agreed with many things. There's a lot of corruption going on, and
Okay. Now, it was with Detective Stroman individually, or the Long Beach Police Department in general? Was it just kind of focusing on what we're going to be talking about today?
my personal experience is with Detective Stroman only. I've heard many other stories that I can't confirm if they're true or not, because people talk, but his department in general is...
Got some problems?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's start with your individual issues, and then we'll go on to other stuff. I want to get your observations on things that you actually seen and heard and participated in at whatever level, that type of deal.
Okay.
So how did you initially end up running into Detective Stroman, and about when was it?
He ran into me, and it was in November of 13, I believe, the beginning of November of 13. He came up to me at Whaley Park on Bellflower and Atherton, and I lived a couple blocks from there, and he and his partner Garrido came up to me there.
And how did they come up to you there?
Garrido, his partner, had been at the far opposite end of the park, and he was yelling my name and waving, and I was squinting to see who is that. Like who is that? Because I didn't recognize them, and they kept yelling my name and walking towards me slowly, and I was content on looking at him, and Strowman came up from me behind.
Okay. And you've discussed this with Mr. Downing before.
Yes, sir.
And so, I'll kind of let you guys walk through the story on how it played out from there.
Sandra, do you recall meeting with me the first time?
Yes, sir.
When was that?
A couple weeks back at the Starbucks.
Would you say it was last Monday?
Yes.
Yeah. And when we were in Starbucks, I said to you, just tell me your story. From the beginning, where you think the beginning should be. Would you do that today? We'll tell your story. We'll try not to interrupt you. And then we'll go back and ask questions to fill in any blanks that we feel are needed. Is that okay?
Yes.
So let's start at the beginning. That goes back quite a number of years.
From years ago? Okay. In 2004, I was working at a rehab. I was cleaning. I was whatever. I worked at the Substance Abuse Foundation, and I had a boyfriend who relapsed, went back into that type of thing, and we split up. He consequently got back involved in whatever, and was arrested, and in his house, his mom's house, they were all raided or whatever, and his brother that he lived with, he said, "You're not welcome here anymore because you promised you wouldn't do this again," and so he wouldn't let him back in the house, and his mother said he couldn't stay there, so he had called me, and he asked me if he could stay there, and I had my children at the house and stuff, and I told him, "You could stay here, but do not bring any drugs to my house." He said he would not bring any drugs to my house. I believed him. I had cancer previously before that, and he was very good to me. Even after we broke up, he was still very good to my son. He, for 2 years, gave him an allowance every Friday. He picked him up for Christmas, my birthdays, and got us presents, me and my mom, or Mother's Day, whatever. So I said, "Yeah, you could stay here, but do not bring drugs to my house." And he agreed upon that. He didn't do that. There was something he got involved with out in, I don't know, there was a 5 task force, like Burbank, Glendale, it was big, all these police departments that were involved in this raid, and they came, they followed him or whatever. He got busted. It was an illegal raid, and he had got busted for a couple pounds of stuff or something, and money, and like a lot of money, and they had to give it all back, and they were upset. So when they let him go, they put a tail on him. That's when he asked me if he could stay there, and I agreed yes. I worked many hours at that point in time. I worked from 9 a.m. till 6, 7 o'clock at night every day. And while I was gone at work, him and his friends, which I gave him a little corner in the garage to keep his stuff or whatever, they were moving drugs in and out of there, putting it in the wall, taking the drywall, I mean, lots of stuff. I would come home, pull into my garage, but it would all be cleaned up. I was none the wiser. I didn't know. And then about 8 days, I guess, after he had been there, he had just left for work, because he leaves like at 3 in the morning, because he works back east time or whatever in this time. And maybe 5 minutes after he left, I heard an explosion, and they had put one of those little bomb things on the door that blew a hole in the door, and it came in with the ninja suits and assault rifles, and they were in every room within minutes, and they were on top of my bed holding a rifle to my head saying, "Don't move, bitch." And then the next question was, "Who the fuck are you?" And I was floored, because they had raided my house. I wasn't on the search warrant. I wasn't in a single evidence. They had 80 hours of video and surveillance. They had no idea I even lived in my own house, and it was my house. Upon raiding that morning, they then put me in a car in boxer underwear and a wife beater with no bra and flip flops, and they took me on 2 or 3 other raids around the city of other people from this raid. And then they marched me through every raid, and they asked me, who knows her? Do you know her? Do you know her? Nobody knew who I was because I didn't know any of these people. I wasn't involved with any of them. So then I left my house like at, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning. It was 7 o'clock at night when I arrived at the Burbank Police Department. And my boyfriend and, well, my ex-boyfriend and I guess all his friends, they were all in there locked up. They had locked up a couple other people in the raids that had nothing to do with them, but just because they couldn't find the other people. And they marched me in front of them with all of them, and they brought me in there, and they said, we want to know the guy's name that they were getting it from. They wanted to know where he was. They knew his name was Dave or whatever. They wanted to know more. And of course, you know, they're a bunch of convicts, so they can't tell because that's snitching and they have stupid rules that, you know, they get beat up or whatever. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, none of you have to worry about it because we're going to fuck her for all of this. So I had my boss was there to bail me out, and my ex-boyfriend's mother was there to bail me out. My friend was there to bail me out. They kept me there really late all day, and they gave me a $25,000 bail and told me and let me out. Told me I had a year to charge me. They then I'd report the car stolen, and the car would be 3 blocks away, 2 blocks away. They were just that, and they would sit out and have their lunch in front of my work every day, and talk shit to my boss. That my boss finally goes, I can't do this anymore. I have to let you go. I can't take it because they were harassing me so bad. So,
Sandra, let me interrupt 1 second. Were these people that conducted the raid, that took you around to the raids, that booked you, that later harassed you, were those members of the Long Beach Police Department?
no, sir.
They were members of other police departments that made up a task force?
Yes.
Okay, please continue.
Okay, so I got out on bail, but everybody had been gone because they'd been there all day waiting, and they were there to bail me out. I got out, and they drove me to downtown LA. Again, I'm in underwear and a wife beater and flip-flops because they said they didn't want me walking in their city because I'd be arrested for indecent exposure or whatever. So they drove me to downtown LA and dropped me off. I managed to borrow somebody's cell phone and make a phone call somebody to come get me. When I returned home, I got to my house, and the windows had been smashed in, and everything I owned was gone and stolen. And so I had to call the Long Beach Police Department. So the Long Beach Police Department came, and it ended up being the landlord, the guy who owned the house that I was leasing it from, and whatever, was arrested and caught in his car with my computers, jewelry, like a lot of stuff, and but a lot of it was gone that they didn't get. He was a professor at Cal State or Cal Long Beach or whatever. I mean, Cal LA. And he was arrested and convicted and put in jail. But, I mean, I didn't get anything back, really. I got a couple things back. And then for a year went by, and then the last day of the year, they called me at 3:30 in the afternoon, and they said, you need to come down to the courthouse with a bondsman and bring a bondsman with you. And then that's when I went down to court, and they upped my bail really high, and I had to pay more money because they were charging me with everything that they knew I had nothing to do with, because
all the other guys took pleas and jumped out. They took 12-year pleas and stuff like that and jumped out so that I couldn't call them as witnesses. I couldn't do anything because they weren't technically involved in my case at all. It looked like it was all just me. So I went on trial for that, and they were offering me an absurd 25 years or some kind of crap like that, and I fought it for a long time, and in the gist of it, I ended up getting 4 years. And I had to turn myself in, whatever. And
Was that a plea agreement?
was it a plea agreement?
Yes.
No, because it had gone down from 25 to 10 to 8 to 7 to 4. I had been.
In other words, you did
I
not-
took the 4 because the judge told me I've looked there. This is the lowest I could possibly give you. You know, it's the lowest I could possibly give you, and okay. So I took the 4 years. I went in and I did my time. I did it. It was horrible. I hated it. But I did it with ferocity. Like, how was there any way to get out of here faster than you could possibly get out of here? So I went to fire camp, and I never had a write-up. I was a model prisoner. I ended up getting out just under 2 years because they told me I was the fastest person to ever get to fire camp ever, because I didn't take any of the training classes because I had to wait like a period of time for 2 months to get into it, and I wanted out, and I asked what I had to do, and they said everything they've been training for months. And so I just ran faster than if I run for my life. I was running for, I ran faster than that one, did more push-ups than the other one, pull-ups, and I graduated top of the class and didn't take a day of training. So I was in fire camp within 6 months of being arrested, which was unheard of. I was already in a camp, and getting third time.
You told me one time that they called you a 1%er. What's that?
A 1%er, it's somebody who, 1%er is a person that most people don't have an education. Their 8th grade is their highest, level. I scored a 12.9 on my scholastic test there that they give you when you come in. Every prison tried to get me to stay or come to their prison because I could actually work in an office. Because if you have theft, burglary, crimes where you steal something from somebody, you're excluded from being in any kind of positions like that. And there's only 1% of people that have a high school education and don't have multiple charges throughout their whole life. That you get points, I guess, for if you not being arrested under 17, I was over 30 before I got arrested for, and you don't, and the other part of the 1%er is that only 1% of California inmates who go through the prison system are never seen back in that prison system again, because 60 or 70% of them are back in within the first year, and the other percentage is back in within the following year. And it's been 10 years.
Okay, so then you got out of prison. Your sentence was out in just a little over 2 years. Is that correct?
I got out in August 2008.
2008.
Yes.
And what did you do when you got out?
I was on parole. I got off and released from parole with no tail or anything within 1 year. They loved me at parole. They said they wish every parolee could be like me. I spoke for the parole program. I spoke for their STAR program. I was a model parolee, and I was released 1 day to the year I got out. I was done. They gave me all my paperwork, no tell, and thanked me and said wish they had 1,000 of me.
Okay, so let me recap, just to be sure. You were given a 4-year sentence. Because you were a model prisoner, you got out of prison in just a little over 2 years. And
Yeah.
you had a parole tail for an additional year. And during that additional year, you spoke on behalf of the parole program.
Well, when you get out, your parole is the remaining time of your sentence. When I was in fire camp, we didn't have a GED program or anything there. They only offer those at the prison. And there were some girls in camp and stuff that wanted to take these tests, and they said no because they didn't have a teacher, they didn't have anybody. So me and another inmate who were educated, we volunteered to tutor them without the teacher, and and every single one of them passed it. And the state gave me and her an award thanking us for going above and beyond or whatever. But instead of the 2 years left, it was just 1 year. I didn't.
Okay, so you did 1 year parole, you were released from parole. Where did you live at that time?
I lived here in Long Beach.
Now, what year is that?
That is 2009.
2009. And just tell me briefly about the kind of life you lived between 2009 and...
I changed up everything from before. I stayed away from people, places, anything that would ever get me caught up again because it was horrible. I hated being there. So in 2010, I had a previous ex-boyfriend who his parents loved me, and a long time ago he asked me when I was with him, if I ever get sick, will you come take care of me? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll come take care of you. Well, he happened to get sick at this time, and his wife, and they didn't want anybody else in the house, but they kept saying, we want Sandra, we want Sandra. So I moved to San Pedro to move in and help Billy and George and take care of them. I was there for, I don't know, a month or so, and Billy died, the wife, and so that really messed up George. I don't know. They've been married 70 years, and you know, once one dies, the other one goes pretty quickly right after. And George deteriorated pretty quickly, but he managed to stay about a year. So I stayed with him, and I took care of the two of them until she died, and then just him. And I just saved every paycheck because I didn't have any expenses. I didn't have to go anywhere. And when he died, I took all my money and and I invested in products, and I had online stores, and I did very well at it.
What kind of products?
Okay, well, I wasn't sure what field because I didn't know what would sell the best, so I bought lots of from different vendors of different items to see what would sell best. To be honest, the first thing I thought was sex toys. Everybody has sex, so I thought that'd be great, you know, just sell sex toys, you know. And I bought a store that had closed down. I bought all their product, their inventory. I had bought sunglasses and eyeglasses. California, everybody has sunglasses, and they're designer people here, you know, you gotta have the name brand. So I bought tons of those, and then I had a dog, which I loved, so I bought a bunch of dog toys, dog supplies, the flea stuff, anything to do with dogs. So I had a pet shop, I had a sunglasses and eyeglasses shop, frames, and I had 2 sex shops, and I had an antiques and collectibles shop because that's what I enjoy doing on the weekends, or that's my favorite.
And this was all an online business,
yes.
Is that correct? Okay, so...
When George died, I moved to Canyon Lake, and I rented a place, and I lived out there in Canyon Lake on 2 acres by myself with my dog. And I stayed out there until I came to Long Beach.
What year did you move back to Long Beach?
Just a few months before.
Okay, so how many years from the time you got out of prison until you moved to Long Beach passed?
I was gone for 10, 11, 12. I came back in 13 for cool because I moved to San Pedro first for a year and then to Canyon Lake.
So from the time you got out of prison until you came back to Long Beach or more passed?
Well, since I'd lived here, kind of, because last time I really lived here was when I got arrested in 2004 or five, yeah.
Right. So this many years later, where did you move to in Long Beach?
When I first came down here, I moved in with my friend Jim until I was looking for a place, found a place. He said, I have a spare bedroom, nobody's in it. You're more than welcome to come and stay here. And, you know, until you get back, whatever, until you figure out what you're going to do and come stay here. I have a lot of good friends, thank God. So.
Right. So where was that location?
Park Estates. Right behind, you know, the Park Estates, right behind where all the college kids live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is Park Estates how many blocks from the park? What's the name of the park that you visited?
Whaley Park on Atherton and Bellflower, and Park Estates is on Clark and Atherton, and it goes all the way around to. It's really big. It's a really big apartment complex, and it basically goes almost to Los Coyotes, and then it curves back in and comes back around to Atherton. It covers the whole shopping center behind that shopping center where the police department and Krispy Kremes and that whole thing back there is Park Estates.
Okay. And did you make a practice of visiting that park?
Yes, because
and if yes, for what purpose?
well, for the purpose of one, the park goes down and it has a back end to it with a big dip, and it's where the flood control and so a huge ocean breeze comes through there, and you could go from that part of the park to the front end of the park on the corner, and it would be a 10 degrees difference in the weather. And it was all shady. It was very cool. There would be lots of people. It was a cool spot to escape and get away to on a hot day. And I'd visit and also I have my grandchildren and they would come there and I would see them there at the park. And I just met people there. I knew all the people that walk their dogs. I had a dog, or it's a very small, friendly community park, and everybody, if you go there more than once or twice, you're gonna meet, and then everybody kind of, it's very small.
Okay. In the park near that area, could you describe to me the layout in terms of the area where you would visit the park and play with your grandchildren or visit with your friends? Physically, there's a fence there, is that correct?
The fence inside the park or surrounding the park?
There is a fence that separates the park from the flood canal.
And the college, yes.
And the college,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But there was 2 gates, like oak door, you know, that you could go through on either way as well.
Right. And were you familiar with what were homeless shelters?
There was a couple of the park bums, and they're still there to this day that have lived there, and everybody that went there knew them, and they were very well taken care of there because everybody would bring them food and bring them dishes and bring them stuff all the time. When it got cold, they'd bring their extra blankets or give them coats or clothes or stuff.
Did you ever bring them anything?
I used to bring them stuff all the time.
Okay. Do you know their names?
Yeah, Bruce is one and Tom was the other.
You don't know their last names?
No, they were straight
Okay.
people. You know, I mean, Bruce was the teetotaler, and he was very entertaining. And Tom was he actually lived across the street from the park until just recently. He had lost his home, and he had lived there his whole life, and he didn't know what to do so he went from having a home across the street, which is a nice expensive neighborhood, to a tent in the park because he was more familiar, and he was familiar even with Bruce and them because he'd known them for years because they'd been in the park for years.
Okay. Now, story, in November of 2013, the day that you were in the park, and it was a couple of days prior to your arrest. Could you relate the circumstances, why you were in the park, if anyone was with you, and the circumstances of that day?
I was in the park with my friend Sue and her dog Blitz, and we were sitting at the table in that back cool little section, and we were just sitting there talking. I believe we had a fruit salad or something like that. And we, because we would meet there in lunch, whatever. And I was approached by John Kirkland, which John Owens, John Kirkland, whatever it is. I was approached by this man.
The man that you were approached by, did you know his name when you were approached?
No, I knew him as the guy my friend rented a room from.
Okay, we'll get into that later. What happened when you were approached by this individual who you now know as one named John Kirkland?
Yes. He came up to me in the park, and he came up and asked me, "Hey, can I buy some drugs? Or can you got any?" And I said, "What?" I was like, I don't even know you, dude. And I'm Donald's landlord, you know what I mean? And because I seen him in a car before, because he dropped Donald off one time at work, and I saw him, but I didn't know him. I just briefly saw him once. And he said, "I'm Donald's Orlando. He rents from me." And I was like, "What are you asking me for?" And he's like, "I want to get some dope." And I go, "Why are you here asking me that? Get the hell out of here." And so I immediately pick up my phone and I call my friend. And I say, and he's at work. And I said, "Donald, what is your landlord or whatever? Why he's sitting here in the park asking me for a dope?" And he was all, "What?" And I was all, "Yes." I go, "Dude, what the fuck?" And then he was still standing there. And I said, "I told you to go away." And he didn't leave. And so Donald goes, "I'm going to call him right now." And so they hang up with him, and he's still standing there. And I'm getting angry because I told him to leave twice. And so his phone rings right away, and it's Donald. And I could hear him yelling at him on the other end of the phone. And so I go, "See, I go, get the fuck out of here," you know what I mean? Get the screw. And he left, and I'm looking at my friend, and I was like, "Was that not the weirdest thing ever?" You know what I mean? And she was like, "What was that?" I go, "I don't know. That was weird." So just out of curiosity, because I couldn't see to the parking lot because there's a baseball field and a dugout and stands, and you cannot see the parking lot from that side without having to get up and walk and go over. So I got up to walk to see where he went because I was just suspicious of the whole thing. And I saw him walk up to this and get into a white truck. And the truck backed up and it started to go out. And I kind of lost my mind for a second because the truck, it was a very nice truck. I've never seen anyone like it before. It was very, very pretty. It was a very nice truck. And I thought, God, last time I saw him, he had a crappy minivan. Like, when he dropped Donald off when I saw him that one time, like, how do you get that from that? You know what I mean? Thinking. And, but he wasn't driving. There was somebody else driving. So I watched the truck as it went out of the parking lot, and it made a big loop back all the way around the park again and went around the park. And when he could have just went one street, turned left, and went to his home. And so that was odd to me, but again, I was looking at the truck, and I thought it was weird. I just kind of shook it off. My friend apologized to me, said he'd never do that again, and I said that wasn't. I don't understand that, and he said I don't know, and so and then about I don't know. I think it was 3 days later. It was 3 days later that I was back in the park again. I was meeting my son for lunch, and he was bringing my granddaughter, and I was going to play with my granddaughter and get to see her for lunch, I was gonna get to take them out to lunch and and play with her at McDonald's. We were gonna, you know, go up to Playland or whatever, and while waiting for him, that's when I encountered Garrido
Okay,
and
let's tell that story. You're sitting, you're waiting for them to come.
Okay, and then
Okay, can I?
as soon as he's off,
To be
he's
clear
gonna
on
have to get off the
something,
phone.
after I got out and when I told him what I told him, am I supposed to say that as well?
As far
When I
as
told him F you, and I F you back?
Sandra, express yourself.
Okay,
as
because
you please.
that's how I felt,
express
and that's what I
yourself,
did. Okay,
As you did in our meeting last
It's
Sunday.
okay. I think
tell it like real it is. If that's the language you use,
Okay.
great.
pain might boom
You know,
like
you're not,
a little bit
so-
you're
forward.
not trying to
Pain
impress
might
anybody
boom
on the
just a
thing. You're
little
just
bit.
giving the information the way it happened.
Like, yeah.
Awesome.
There you go. That's good. Okay, thank you.
So are we rolling?
We are.
Yes, we're speeding.
Okay, we're back. Sandra, you just related the story of this stranger at the time, the man that you didn't know. Followed him, you saw this truck. Would you describe the white pickup? What made it special or outstanding to you?
I've never seen another one like it in my life before. It was a beautiful truck. It was this cream, opalescent, just beautiful white cream, shiny color, and the bottom had the most softest, creamy, bright gold along the trim with the step ups. It was just a really nice truck, and I was saying, wow, that's a pretty car. Like, you know, because I've never seen one of those colors before.
Was it a 2-door or a 4-door?
4-door.
Did it have an open bed or was there a lid on the bed?
It had the bigger kind of back where it goes down at an angle, but it has the bed. But you know how the truck cabs are where you have a back seat now, kind of like it had the tilted back. But I just never seen one like it before. So it was I really thought, oh, that's nice. I want to know what kind of truck that is.
Okay, so where we left off, you were in the park 2 or 3 days later, which would be November 14th, 2013. And you were there, as you stated, to meet your son and granddaughter, to have lunch and have a little play date.
Yes.
So describe to me how long you were in the park waiting for them.
So I got to the park, and when I got there, I saw a couple of the people. Like I said, it's a very small park that frequent there, and you can go there any day and run into the same people that walk their dogs. That, you know, they're all very friendly there. It's a very close little park. And I saw Sue and Blitz there, so I went and sat with Sue and Blitz and was playing with the dog, with Blitz. He's a great dog.
This is the Sue that you were with several days before when you were
Yes.
approached by that man. What's Sue's full name?
I don't know her last name. I do have her phone number. I don't know her last name though.
Do you know her phone number?
Yes, I do.
Do you know it by heart?
Oh no, I don't know any
Oh,
of them.
okay. Okay.
I
But
had
you
to have a
can, you
name
can
written.
provide her some.
I had to have my boyfriend's number. They wrote it
Okay.
on my arm in Sharpie all the way down my arm when I went in, so I wouldn't forget it in big letter. I mean,
Okay,
nobody
but you
remembers.
have Sue's phone
Yes.
number. If it was
She's in the
needed.
picture that I sent you.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead. You're talking
So
to
we're
Sue
talking to
again.
her, and a man is like it by the Bellflower and by the YMCA Bellflower.
Who is?
Well, I didn't know who it was at the time, but it's Stroman. Oh, I call him Stroman's twin, but you know, Garrido, whatever, because I don't know. They seem to be looking more and more like. I call them the Bobbsey twins, you know, because.
Okay. Anyway, you're sitting in the park. Sue's there again.
And I hear this man yelling, "Hey, Sandra!" and waving and yelling my name.
How far away is he?
He's a good. I don't know. I would have to say a few 500 yards away, maybe, or how.
Football field?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that how big a football field is?
A football field is 100 yards.
No. Oh wait. Well, okay. Yeah. Then I guess maybe because from that back all the way to Bellflower,
if a football field or a little bit bigger, I don't know, somewhere around there. And he's coming slowly, and he's walking alongside like the fence by where the bushes are and all the trees, so he's shaded, and he just keeps going, Sandra, and I'm straining to see who this guy is, because why would anybody be yelling my name that, you know, from whatever, that just wouldn't come over and say hi to me. And so I'm concentrating on looking, who's this guy, and I'm looking, and before he gets maybe about a couple 100 feet away from me, maybe, where, you know, I'm going, I don't know who that is, and I'm looking and straining to see, and from behind I hear, "Don't move, bitch," and it's Detective Sherman.
And was Stroman armed at the time?
Yes.
Did he identify himself as a police officer?
After he said, "Don't move, bitch," you know, he didn't say, "I'm a police officer, don't move, bitch," or anything. No, after he described himself.
What brought your attention to him?
Because he had a gun.
Huh?
He had a gun.
And what was he doing with the gun?
He had it by the back of my head.
He placed the gun at the back of your head
And said, "Don't move, bitch.
and said what?
Don't move, bitch."
Okay. Was Sue there at the time?
She was walking to the table. She was coming up to the table, and they ordered her back and to get away.
Okay. Then what happened?
I was floored. I had no idea. Like, I've had no police contact or been interrupted. I was floored as to why this was happening to me. And I said, "What the fuck?" You know, like, what are you doing? This is a park. There's kids, there's daycares there, there's everything. And you have a gun out, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't know, I was in shock, kind of. And so he turned around and he came to talk to me, and I said, "What the fuck are you doing? You know, what is this? Why, you know, get that away from me." And he said, "We're gonna chat." And I said, "I don't have any fucking thing to say to you except for maybe report you, but I don't know what the hell is going on here." And he said, "You know people I want to know." And I said, "I don't know any fucking buddy you know. I don't even know who you are. Get the fuck away from me." And he said, "No, you know people I know, and I know you do." And then I just went, "Oh fuck, what is this referring to 10 years ago?" You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, if I'm getting screwed for something 10 years ago I got screwed for, you know, about this is what my mind's going through, because that's what happened 10 years ago, you know. He said, "And you're gonna help me out." And I said, "I'm not gonna help you out because I don't know what you're talking about." I told him, "Do you understand you're my first police contact in 10 years since I was arrested? This is the first time a police officer I've talked to, other than one time at Canyon Lake when I called them myself because the house was broken into." So he said he really didn't want to hear anything I had to say. He told me just to shut up and listen. I argued with him, and I'm not, because I'm not a person just to shut up, and I know my rights, and I know I haven't done anything wrong. And I told him, "I'm not helping you, I don't know what you're talking about, and you're pathetic." I go, "What do you need me to do your job for you? You get paid to do your job, you do your job and leave me alone." And that's when Garrido fully came up on that side, and he told me I was a smart mouth bitch, that I was gonna comply and follow the program. I told him to go fuck himself, and that's when he threw a bag of dope on the ground, and he said, "Oh, what's that?" And I said, "That's a bag of dope, and you need to pick it up. There's children all over around this park." And he goes, "She knows what it is." Click, click, and next thing I know, I was put into a car and whisked away.
That was the end of the conversation. You mentioned earlier that two homeless people lived on the other side of the fence from the park, beyond the bushes. Were either one of those present that day?
Tom was.
Tom was.
Yes.
Do you think that Tom observed all of this activity?
Tom observed all of this because we were sitting right on the other side where they sit. Because to be truthfully honest, I do smoke pot, and
I can, at the park, I can say we used to go there and smoke pot every now and then in the very back corner where there's no kids, no one other way in the back by the college. And we would talk to them all the time. Like I said, we brought them stuff.
Okay.
And they ordered Tom out of his structure, and they said they wanted to go in and search it and do all this, and he told them, fuck you, you have a warrant, you can't go in there, we can do whatever we want, I'll go in there if I want. You know, he's big power
So you were
tripper.
present when they
Yeah.
spoke to Tom?
The big power tripper. And then Tom was adamant about his rights, and because like I said, he was just a normal guy who had just lost his home a month ago and went from a house across the street from the park to living in the park. So he was an intelligent man.
Okay.
And they told him, you know what, go ahead, get the fuck out of here, you're not the one we want anyways. And Tom was told to
Who
leave.
told Tom that?
Stroman.
Okay, and then after they ran Tom off, ever placed under arrest by Stroman?
No, Garrido put handcuffs on me and put me in a car, and it drove the car onto the park, put me in the car, and then
What kind of car did they drive into the park?
it was like a little old gold, like I want to say like a little Corolla Camry type of car, a little 4-door gold everyday car that you see. Like,
And Garrido drove that car into the park?
Garrido drove me straight, and then drove me straight to jail.
Okay, and when Garrido arrived with the car, what happened?
He took me out and he took me inside and handcuffed me to a chair where they book you.
No,
Oh,
at the park, when he drove in the car, did they place you in the car?
yeah, I was already in handcuffs, yeah.
Okay.
And
And you were then transported to jail?
yes,
Who transported you?
Garrido,
By himself?
by himself,
Were you in the back seat or the front seat?
backseat.
Was there a cage between him and
No.
the driver?
No, it's a regular, ordinary, everyday car.
Okay. Let me ask you one more question. What were you wearing that day?
I was wearing, I remember I was wearing tennis shoes, and I believe I had, I can't remember if maybe I had like short jeans or whatever. It required a belt, and because when I was released, I just remember I had to hold my pants up, and I had no shoelaces, and I looked ridiculous because they were
Okay.
falling off. So it was something short, yeah.
Okay. Did you have anything in your possession at the time you were originally approached by Stroman that would cause a reasonable person to believe that you presented the kind of danger that someone should approach you with a gun and put a gun at the back of your head?
I had rode my pink Schwinn cruiser there with a basket and a bell on it, and I had my little bag in my basket, and like I said, small. It was summer, small clothing, minimal clothing. I asked him if my son could be called, because my son was on his way to come get me, and I told him that with my granddaughter, which I didn't want my granddaughter, whatever, but I didn't want him to just, I figured that the way he was treating me, or they would just leave it there and it would be gone, and I had that like for a long time. So I asked him if you could call my son to and ask him to tell him what's going on and to pick up my bicycle.
Okay. Now, now you arrive at the jail. Please tell me step by step what happened when Garrido delivered you to the jail.
Garrido delivered me to the jail, handcuffed me to a chair, and left. And I sat there for, I don't know, an hour. And nobody called me, nobody did anything. until Detective Stroman showed up an hour later.
Okay. Where was the chair that you were handcuffed to? Was that in the jail?
Yeah.
Or was that in a squad room?
No, it was in the booking area. I guess they have a guy's side and a girl's side that they kind of, or whatever, you sit on. And I was sitting, not the side against the parking lot, but the other side. And there's an island in between it where they do
Okay,
stuff.
you were not in a cell.
No, I was handcuffed to a chair.
Okay. I want to come back to the jail for a minute, but after you got out of jail, did you talk to Sue again about what occurred in the park?
Yes.
What did Sue tell you?
She told me that Detective Stroman yelled at everybody around there and ordered them all back, and wouldn't let anybody near over there. And he was over on the area of the other side of the fence. He backed his car down the flood control, and he was on the other side, and he was over there taking pictures.
Okay. How long did Sue say they were there doing that kind of thing?
He was there, she said, like 45 minutes or so to an hour, because it was an hour. I was at the jail for an hour before he showed up.
Okay. Let me back up one more time here. When Stroman first approached you during your encounter in the park, were you ever searched?
At that time, no.
No?
No.
Nothing was taken from your pockets?
From my pocket, yeah, after they put handcuffs on me, and then they patted me down. But I had my bag in my basket of my bike, and they were so intent on me that they didn't even search the bag. He turned the bike and the basket, my purse, right over to them.
So did your purse remain in the basket?
Mm-hmm.
So your son got the purse and the bike?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any money in your pockets?
I had some money in my pocket, and in my other pocket, I had a few pills in my pocket.
Tell me about the pills you had in your pocket. What were they in?
That's when I became extremely nervous. They were in like a little skinny plastic, like snap pill case, a little round one, you know, the size of a quarter, 50-cent piece maybe, thin, and it just snapped closed. Mm-hmm. And I've had 3 back surgeries, two knee surgeries. I've severed the nerve on my left side. I used to be paralyzed for a year, and I'm pending another one, and I've had multiple other surgeries. And at the current time, I don't have insurance or anything, and when my back goes out and goes bad, whenever my friends went for surgery or had something or whatever, I would always, hey, them bum a pill off of them for those emergency days when I needed one.
Right. So these pills were in your pocket. Did you dig them out, or did somebody take them out of your pocket?
You could see the little round thing, which probably looked like a 50-cent piece, but when he pulled it out, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to...
Who took it out of your pocket?
Stroman.
Was there money with it?
No, I had money in my other pocket.
And what happened to that money?
That money was taken.
When he searched you?
Yeah, he took the money, and he took the little thing of pills, and it had
Okay.
7 or 8 pills, I believe, in it.
Now, what kind of pills were in there?
There was like one of every. I had like a 5 Norco and like a 10 Norco and a muscle relaxer, and I had an ox. They were all different forms of pain pills. The Tylenol 3. There were like 7 or 8 different kinds of pain pills, but just one of each.
Okay. How much money was taken from your pocket?
I thought I had like $117 or $20 on me.
Do you recall what denominations that was?
I know I didn't have a $100 bill when I got arrested. I know it was like, I thought it was like 4 or 5 20s, maybe a couple of 10s, some 5s and some 1s.
Okay.
And some change. The change made up for some of it too.
We'll discuss later the importance of None of the denominations was a $100 bill. Okay, now let's jump back to the jail. You're handcuffed in the chair. What happened next?
Stroman sauntered in, looking smug and crappy, and asked me if I liked where I was, and told me I was going back to jail, and unless I could help him.
Okay.
And I told him to go fuck himself. Booked
Then what
me.
happened?
So he booked me.
Now, in the booking process, were you mugged and photographed and fingerprinted and all that?
Searched, and yes.
Yes. Did you have any personal property on you at the time?
Money. I had money.
Money?
Well, no. Well, they took the money, but I went.
No,
My
I-
personal property when I was released, it should have been money, shoelaces, and a belt. But you don't get your shoelaces or that belt; they throw them away. So I got really nothing back. I just got an envelope with nothing in it, and was released with what I had on. Just my
Okay.
clothing.
Now, after you were booked, what happened?
I went upstairs and they put me into a cell. And when I got into a cell up there, the cellmate happened to be, there was 2 girls that had been arrested that morning that he had gotten that morning, Stroman. And they were 2 females associated with my ex-boyfriend from long ago, who to this day is still doing the same thing and has never stayed more than 1 year out of prison since 2004, since I've done, and they're girlfriends.
So you recognized them from the past?
And they recognized me, and they, oh my God, where have you been? And I was
Okay.
I thought, this is very odd. Like his best friend's girlfriends are in here. I thought it was odd, but the whole day was odd. So I was like unsure.
Did the girls, while you were in the jail cell, ask you why you were in there?
Yes, I told them that some dickhead named Stroman caught me at a park when I was trying to see my granddaughter and threw bagged up on the ground and dragged me in here. And then while I was telling him this story, Ritchie up front and center or whatever, and I go to the
Who?
Ritchie front and center. That's my last name. They don't talk to you by your first name
Oh.
there. They call you by your last name. At front and center, and I went up to the gate and they opened it up, and like, where am I going? I was thinking, oh, I might be released. It was just a joke after all, But no, they took me into an interrogation room, and Stroman was in there. He asked me again. He wanted to know the people that he knew. I knew people he wanted to know, and he wanted that information. Again, I told him, I go, are you basing this off when I was arrested 10 years ago? Are you just looking at that? Why don't you go back and read the fucking case file instead of just the front page? Because you'll see I had nothing to do with it then. I go, and you're gonna fuck me for something I already got fucked for? And I paid my time and did it as a model prison and have never ever been in trouble again and no police contact ever again? I go, no, you're not doing this to me, you know what I mean? And then, take her back. So he'd take me back, and before I can go back in there and even talk to them, if they're like, what happened? I'm all, do you know this guy? And they're like, yeah, he's a fucking prick. He was hiding in my laundry room. He nabbed me. The other one was telling me, they were going, they were going, he's a dirty fucking cop. He does outrageous shit. And I'm going, why is he messing? I couldn't figure out why he was on me. So then a couple minutes goes by, Ritchie, front and center. Again, I'm taken out. And they take me to the interrogation room, and then this time nobody's in there, and they just make me sit there for 10 minutes, and then they take me back into the jail thing again.
Nobody spoke to you?
Nobody spoke to me, nobody said anything. So then I go back in there, and they're like, what happened? And I go, I don't know, they took me in there, I sat in a room, and nobody came, and they brought me back. And then couple minutes later, Ritchie, front and center, and they bring me out again. And they take me back in there, and now I believe Garrido was with them at one point, I believe. I don't know which time it was, because they pulled me out 4, 5, 6 times. And it was, to me, there were, anybody who goes in and out, everyone, like when I come back in, they go, ooh, that girl's telling, or ooh, she's talking to the popo, you know, or, you know, all the other people that are arrested there, they started saying things like, ooh, you're talking to the police, you know what I mean? Like, so, I guess that's a snitch thing, and they were making me look very bad because the other inmates were already saying, oh, don't talk to that girl, you know what I mean? They were, and...
Let me ask, did you ever have was it 2 women that you knew?
Yeah.
Did you ever have the impression that they were trying to elicit statements from you?
No.
No, okay.
I just felt like with the whole situation, I felt like I was being set up to be forced into doing what he wanted, or be a snitch, which in these people's world can get you hurt. So now these women aren't talking to me. When 4th time, 5th time, they're on the other side, not really talking to me now.
Right. Okay, so
when this
you've related that you've been taken back and forth 4 times now. The first time Stroman tried to get you to talk. The second time, no one was there. 3rd time, another encounter with Stroman.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're back a 4th time.
And by the time, from just coming back out of there and hearing what the other inmates were saying, when I went back in there, I thought, fuck this asshole. He wants to do this to me. I'll too play at this game. So when I went back in there, I go, okay, you know what? I got fucked last time for this 10 years ago. You're not doing it to me again. I'll find somebody, whatever you want. I'll help you. That's what I told them. Okay, I'll help you.
And this was what, the 5th visit back?
Yeah, 4th, 5th, yeah.
Okay.
It's just a little stressful that day. I was very upset. So
Okay.
yeah, it was a
And
bunch
then
of
what
times.
happened?
So then, next thing I know, they just take me out and they keep me out, they handcuff me out, or they took me back into the cell. But it was they had served dinner, and then after dinner, you're locked in your cell for the night till the next day. Or the next morning or whatever. So when I went back in, I didn't have to deal with other women because I was placed in a cell. So
You were placed in a cell by yourself?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess if there's enough, they only double up women if they need to, or unless everybody gets a single cell or whatever. So I was placed in a cell. And then I waited for maybe 45 minutes or so, and then they called my name, opened the door, and then did the process of release.
And they what?
Did the process of releasing me.
And then what happened?
I was given a piece of paper that I signed, and I was being released for insufficient evidence of a crime, with the option up to a year to refile charges on me.
And did it say that? Were you given a piece of paper that said there's insufficient evidence to prosecute?
It was a triple copy because it was a carbon, and I got the 3rd one, the pink one on the bottom.
Did you ever see Stroman again that day?
I saw him because I saw him when I was leaving. Yes, I did, and he said that he would be in contact with me tomorrow, the next following day. To make sure I answered, he would be calling me.
In our discussion last Monday, you talked about the fact that when you were released, the money that was taken from your pocket was not given to you. What about that?
Oh,
What occurred regarding that?
and I also have to say, because I did forget to, you just said that I had an iPod on me, an iPod when I was arrested as well.
Right.
Yeah, I did have an iPod, you let music, whatever. I had that on me as well, I forgot. When I got released, they released me, like I said, I had I was having to hold my pants or whatever up, and I had no shoelaces. My shoes were coming off, and they just throw you out this back alley, and like, there you go, you know what I mean? And it was ridiculous. And I came out this driveway that you have to walk out of the alley, and I turned the corner, and when I turned the corner, that truck was sitting right there. And I was, that's that fucking truck I saw the other day. And I knew, but I was so overwhelmed still with everything going on. But it was in my mind, that was that fucking truck. Why is that truck here? Why is it parked in the no police parking only thing on Broad? And I walked right by and I looked, and that's that truck. Because to this day, I've never ever seen one. I wouldn't even, as far as went up, tried to find one online, and I couldn't find this truck. And so I knew it was that truck. And I couldn't put the pieces together or anything, because at that present time, my present was to get off the street because I looked ridiculous. I was holding pants up and shoes that were falling off so that I couldn't even walk in. So I had to hold them in my hand and walk barefoot because my shoes wouldn't stay on. And so I just walked as quickly as I could to my boyfriend's house. And
Okay, let me back up once again. You spoke about the fact that when you were released, the money that they had taken from your pocket was not given to you, and you had some kind of conversation with Stroman about
Yes.
your money.
yes, I did.
Lead us up into that. At what point did this occur?
I asked him to please reconsider after he was releasing me. I said, because I kind of accused him of being a moron and telling him, is this how you've gotten this far in your career? You use criminals to do your job because you're too stupid to be, I was not very nice to him, because I was, and I asked him, well, who are you to deem whose life you can just come in and affect like this and do these kind of things? You don't even know me. I know all about you. I go, no, you don't, because I don't know you, so there's no possible way you know me, and there's no possible way you know me through any crap, because I'm not involved, and I just came back to town. And he told me, just basically shut up, we'll be talking to me soon, make sure when he gets in touch with me, I answer, whatever. And I asked him, and when they released me, and I got no money back.
Is this before your release from jail?
When I'm being released, I'm asking this to him.
While you're being released?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And he's just telling me basically, shut up. He likes to use the word bitch or dumb bitch a lot, or fucking, you just shut the fuck up. I'm the one running shit. You know what I mean? You just do what I say, and fucking you'll be all right. And I told him, you're fucking with the wrong person, because you're not that intelligent if you need criminals to do your job for you, and I'm pretty sure I'm smarter than you, and this is bullshit. But you know what? I'm not going back again to pay for something that I already paid for that I didn't do, because you're so ignorant that you won't even read my case file and give me a break here, not knowing. And he told me, shut the fuck up, get out of here, and opened the door and threw me out.
What about your money?
He didn't give it to me, and I asked, where's my money? I had money in my pocket. Where's my money? Because I couldn't get out of there. I couldn't walk. I didn't have no money to get out of there, or take a bus, anything. And he said, oh, the cashier's office is closed. You'll have to come back tomorrow. And he said, but you're going to have to go to the property warehouse on the other side of the 710 over there on Canal Street or something like that to pick it up. And
in other words, the money was not booked as your personal property when you were booked into the jail. Is that correct?
I guess they told me at that time the cashier's office was closed. So in that case, it would be transferred over there, and I'd have to go pick it up there.
Okay. Did he provide any basis for you to do that?
He told me at that time that the cashier's office was closed on Saturday, and I said, so I go, I just came back here. I don't really have all that much money. I go, I need my money. I can't even get out of here. And he said, I'll make arrangements. And he gave me a card, and
What kind of card?
his card.
A business card?
With his, Detective Stroman card, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And on the back of it, he wrote a note, and he said, I want you to go there. They're gonna not let you in. It's gonna be locked.
And this is because it's a Saturday?
Yeah, and they're closed. He said, but when you get in, slide this through the crack and give it to them, and tell, and they'll know and follow, because there was a note on there for them.
Okay, so did you do that?
Yeah, I had my friend take me down there the next day.
What was your friend's name?
Amy.
Amy?
Yeah.
Amy what?
Amy Freeman Davis.
Amy Freeman
Yeah,
Davis?
she's my best friend.
Okay. Was Amy with you when you went to the door of this property lockup?
No, she waited in the car. She was grading papers or something. She's
Okay.
a teacher.
What happened now then?
I went up to the door. They told me to go away, whatever. And I said, no, I have it. This is for you to read. And the lady was a black woman. She seemed very perturbed, like, because I was bothering them. I guess it was forensic science open there or something like that. And so she came around, she grabbed the card, and she read it, and stomped over, went behind the counter. She picked up the phone. She made a phone call. And then she hung up the phone, came back to the door, and when she came to the door, she said, my, aren't you a special one getting in here on a Saturday? And she went back behind the counter, and I was on the other side of the counter, because there's like bulletproof glass or, whatever, and it's kind of like a bank, a little thing, and everything. And she proceeded to hand me money and make me sign the thing for whatever I was there, and whatever the time was.
What did you sign?
My name, some log book that had other signatures and stuff in it.
And did you
Signing to say that I received my money back.
And do you recall whether the amount of money was written in on the log?
The amount that they gave me back, I don't recall. I want to say yeah. I don't. I just wanted to sign it, get my back, and just get the hell out of here. I was just over this whole situation.
So you signed your name?
Yeah, I
on
signed
this
my
log.
name on the thing. It was a book that they had there. You had to sign your name, your date, and I'm pretty sure there was a column that I think had the amount of money in it. Yeah.
Do you recall how much total money it was?
I believe on that day I thought I've been at $117 since ever. And that's what I thought. Maybe 117 and some change, because I think I had maybe $1.50 in quarters or something in my pocket, or so. I thought it was that. Or
Do you recall whether or not the denominations included a $100 bill?
I could swear that I didn't have $100 bill, because I was going out with my I'm 95% positive I had 4 or 5 20s, a couple 10s, a couple 5s, and some 1s, and like I said, some change.
So I want to clarify. You do not believe that you had a $100 bill?
No.
In the money that they returned to you, was there a $100 bill?
I said no, but my friend said to me, didn't you get a $100 bill back? Because I thought you said, why did I get this? I just think, I don't know, if they take money from you and you get it back, you might get whatever's in the till or the whatever, as long as it's the same amount. Why do they care what denomination it is? And
right.
so I got my money back, but my friend says, she says, you got 100. And I can't recall really at that time because I was just
Now,
furious.
when your friend told you she recalled that in the money you got back you had 100, is that the result of a recent conversation, not a conversation on the day that you got the money back?
No, it was just like I don't know, a couple weeks ago. It was a couple, I don't know. It was just a little bit ago, maybe last week, or maybe it was after the. I think it might have been after the day. Maybe I talked to you because we had dinner Tuesday night.
Yeah. Okay. Now you got your money.
We might need to change media.
We're going to change the media and cool off.
That fan towards you a little bit more so it's out of this shot. Thanks.
Good.
Okay, we're back, and we left off. You've been released from jail. Was it the same day that you went to get your money, or did you go back the next day?
I had to go back on Saturday into a different location down across the bridge to their property warehouse.
Right. And so you were driven there by your friend. Her name is
Amy Freeman Davis.
Amy Freeman Davis. And you recovered your money from that location, and you signed for it in a log book that they had, or was it a sheet?
I want to say it was a log book. I believe it was like at the counter with the pen, for any visitor, people who
Right.
come there, because you have to go past this bullet, like this thing to get on the other. So I guess you have to sign in and out to come in and out of that building.
Okay, so let's go from there. When did you have your next contact with Detective Stroman?
He told me to call him that afternoon.
Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, to call him that afternoon. I did it.
You did not call him?
No. I was tired. I was pissed. I just rested and was trying to put this whole thing together, what was going on, like in my head. And fuck him. I didn't call him. So the next day, I received a message from him. He called me, and as soon as he called me, he instantly started to scream and yell at me. And like I said, he likes to use the word bitch a lot. He listen, bitch, and started screaming and yelling at me. I said, we're not going to have a conversation. Like, you're not going to call me and scream at me, and you're going to fucking do what I say. He's like, click, I hung up on him. And so he called me right back again, and I picked up the phone, and he started screaming again. And I said, unless you learn how to talk to somebody, I'm not having it. Boom, and hung up on him again. So he called me many times back, and I didn't pick up the phone at all. So the next following day, I sent him a text message saying, when you can learn how to have an adult conversation and talk to somebody, you call me, because I'm not going to be screamed at or called names by you, because obviously you need people like me to do your job, and you need to treat me with respect if you want some back.
Was this in a text? All this?
In a text.
You have that text?
No, I did have that text up until just recently. I had the phone, I had the text, I had all the phone calls and all the numerous threatening texts that he sent me and was brought into court. And my lawyer had it, he saw it, we had all of it. And then I don't know how someday from that day after court, when we were leaving the courthouse, that phone was frozen and it stayed on this one page that said, I couldn't open it, or it gave me no choice to do anything but to reset my phone. And we were like I've never seen anything like that before. And I was like, what the hell? Because my lawyer wanted the phone in his custody so that they could never get it away from me, because he was afraid that they're going to be looking for you and to get you. I need this in my custody.
Well, let's back up to you texted him the next day and said what you said
Yes.
and what occurred after that.
Again, he was just an asshole, mean asshole, rude, calls you names, yells at you. I mean, and
Is he calling you on the phone again?
yes,
Okay.
that went on for another day where he said, I want you to go out today and you're going to go do a buy for me and you're going to give somebody up and you're going to do this. And I said, I had plans that day. And no, I'm not. And it was Sunday or it's Monday, whatever. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And that's not how it works. If you want me to work for you, I obviously have to be the one to go see somebody, and it would have to be in a normal situation. I can't go somewhere at 8 a.m. in the morning because you tell me to, and that would be completely out of the norm, or you know what I mean? So you have to let me figure it out if you want me to help you. And no, fuck you, you listen to me, bitch, I'll come get you now and throw you back in jail and and all this other shit. And I lost it, and I had it about then, and I said, you know what, it was super fucked up what you did to me, and you won't even go read my case file, you won't do it. And he's still yelling, he won't even really ever let me get a sentence in. And I said, you know what, fuck this and fuck you. And he said, what did you say to me? And I said, you know what, how about this? I go, fuck me and I fuck you back. And I hung up the phone, disconnected the phone, and I left town 2 days later.
You left town 2 days later?
Yes.
Did Stroman know where you lived? When you were booked, was there an address given?
I didn't want to give him my address where I was staying because he was out of control. I believe I gave him my parents' address.
And what is your parents' address?
507. I know it. It's on Ring Street in El Dorado Park Estates.
Okay. So you left town 2 days later.
Yes.
Where did you go?
I called my friend. I have a couple of good friends that do specific routes. They go across country, back and forth, and come across. And I just wanted to get out of town quick. I really didn't know where to go.
What do you mean they go back and forth? What's their business?
They're truck drivers.
Truck drivers.
Yeah. And so I called my friend Chris and I said, hey, you bored driving by yourself? Want to let me come for a ride with you? And he's like, why? I go, I need to get out of town. I kind of explained to him what was going on. He said, I'm leaving Thursday or whatever it was. He said, be ready, I'll come pick you up and we're out of here. And I went on 2 week back and forth. And I continued to do that with him for a couple months. I would come back for like a week, and then I would stay here because he'd have a break, and then before he went back out again. And and for those November, December, and into the first or second week of January, I went with my friend Chris and went and did runs with him just to be out of town.
Okay, so did you come back to town?
It was it was right after New Year's of, it was the first week maybe of January, the end of the first week of January.
Okay. And then how long were you in town without any contact with the police again?
Oh, I was there from the first week of January all the way until when I was arrested again. I lived at my boyfriend's house. I moved in with my boyfriend. My boyfriend said, come stay with me. Everything's in my name. Your name's not attached here. Because I was looking for an apartment. And he said, no, just come stay with me. He goes, we're together all the time. Just come stay here. And so I moved in with my boyfriend.
Okay. And you were arrested again on a warrant in August of 2014?
Yeah, by the gang task force unit or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me the circumstances leading up to that.
They were on our street, and
they had, my neighbors were kind of all out front, and we were coming down the street kind of looking, but they had a car pulled over, and as soon as that car pulled away and they harassed them, the next car that went by, they had stopped them, and almost anybody that was going down the street, they were just stopping and fucking with. And so as they were pulling away from this car that they had hemmed up right in the middle of the intersection, and I said, just drive slowly down the street. So as they were
Wait a
pulling,
minute, you're a passenger in
I'm
the
a
car?
passenger in a car.
And your boyfriend
And my
is
boyfriend
driving?
is driving, yes.
Okay.
And he lived there for 8 years, and we were driving, and they were coming past us. And as soon as they came past us, I was like, what are they doing? What are they, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm not going to turn around and look, but he's looking. And usually it's one of those two-way stop, you know, like everybody kind of just, you know, does the brief and goes if there's nobody there, because only one side has to stop. So I was all, nope. I'm all 1001, 1002. I counted to 5 before I would let him make the left turn. And he was like, you're paranoid, you know what I mean? And at that point, he goes, what the fuck? And I said, what? He goes, they're turning around and they're flying down the street now. And we barely make the left turn, and they light up the car. Woo, 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 woo. And we
Were they in a black and white car?
No, undercover car.
But it had a siren?
Yeah, they have that little one on the thing, and ring, it has the lights on the thing, whatever, okay. You know. The Ford Crowns or whatever they're called, right. They light up the car, and he pulls over, and they come up to the car, and they my boyfriend says, what am I being stopped for? And they said, you didn't stop at that stop sign. No, first he said, you look out of place. That was the first thing they said. And then, and I said, out of place, like, is in what? Like, white people can't live here? And the cop goes, the other one goes, you didn't make a full stop at the stop sign. And I go, because I was sitting there scratching a ticket or whatever, and I didn't want to talk to him, so I just continued to, like, scratch my ticket. And they asked me first for my ID. Do you have any ID? And I said...
They asked you before they asked...
Yeah, because I had said, we stopped, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's a crime to be white. You can't be white and live here. And yeah, we did 2 stop. I made him stop. I counted to 5. And then I just went back and shut my mouth and did what I was doing. So they instantly asked me for my ID first. And I said, isn't it common practice to ask the driver? He's driving. I'm a passenger. It's not against the law to be a passenger.
Let me ask you, is your boyfriend black or white?
He's white.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And he's been clean for 8 years. And
okay.
He's been off parole for 8 or 10 years. And he's never had police, he's the same thing. Okay. And they wanted me to get out the car, but I had the car door locked. And I said, no, I go, you need to get his information. He's driving the car. I'm a passenger. It's not against the law to scratch a ticket. And so they get his license, they get the thing, and they say, can we search this car? And my boyfriend says, fine, no problem, because there's nothing in the car. And I'm like, looking at him like, we haven't done anything wrong. Boy, don't let them have this power trip, because I think it's a big power trip that they have, you know, to just mess with you. But it was a tactic to get me out of the car, because they needed me out of the car to search the car. So once I got out of the car, and he got out of the car, they searched it. There was absolutely nothing in the car. Received no ticket whatsoever. And then they were just focused on what's your name, give us your ID. What did I do? It's the law. I said, no, it's not. It's not the law. It's unless there's an APB out for me in this outfit or something. It's not the law. I'm a passenger in a car. I wasn't doing anything wrong. We're not even getting a ticket. Why are you focused on me? And they told, by now the neighbors were all out and circling, and everybody was out there. And my boyfriend lives a nice, quiet life. He goes, just give him the ID, just give it to him. And I knew, I didn't know, I wasn't sure because it'd been like 9 months or whatever, 10 months, whatever, since the Stroman thing. I didn't know if he put a warrant out. I didn't know what, but I knew I was just living in fear, kind of, and I didn't go out of the house in the daytime as much. But they were telling me if I didn't give them my ID that I could go to jail for not telling them who I was. And I was telling them that's not true. And but once the neighbors were all out and everybody was standing out there, he was like, please just give it to him. And so I handed it to him, and then I said to my boyfriend, I go, I don't know if this fucking asshole, what he's done. I go, but if they take me, you better come get me. You know what I mean? And so as soon as I gave him my ID, they told me I was under arrest.
The minute? Or did they take it and go to the car?
He went back to the car. He was on the radio thing or whatever, standing outside the car, and then he signaled to the other one. And the other one came behind me and instantly put my hands behind my back and arrested me.
Okay. Did they tell you why you were under arrest?
They told me I had a warrant out for my arrest.
Okay. Then what happened?
We got into the police car. The cuffs were very tight. And I was saying, these are hurting my arms. They're very tight. It's very uncomfortable. And they were like, and they asked me, what did you do to piss off Stroman? And I said, and I told them about what had happened or what.
You mean they knew that Stroman was behind
they told me, what did you do to piss him off? Or what did you do that you had this warrant or whatever? And I told them that, do you know this asshole named Stroman? And when I said that, the cops stopped the car and they got me out of the car and they loosened my cuffs and then placed them in front of me so I could sit comfortably in the back seat of the car as they drove me to the police department. And they talked about what an asshole Stroman was. That, I hate that guy. That guy's an asshole. And then they proceeded to have this conversation in the car, like saying that they were being split up as partners or something at that time, and that they had both applied for jobs at prisons or whatever, if they were going to be split up in some kind of. And right before they turned me into that room where I was handcuffed before to a chair, they one of them said that well, if we're ever split up, you wouldn't have to worry about us coming back because we'll be prison guards. And one was going to Sentinella and one was going to somewhere else that they had applied. They just made strange comments like, we would never be a witness for you because, you know what I mean? Like, we won't be here if we're split up. But they were very nice to me. They were very nice to me. They gave me numbers and wrote them down. Like, they gave the numbers on a piece of paper instead of writing them on ballpark across my arm. You know what I mean? It with black Sharpie. That's
What did they give you numbers for?
So I could call my boyfriend and call because the only phone number I know by heart is my parents, and those would be the last person I'd ever call if I was in trouble because that's the last people you want your parents to know. You know what I mean? Okay. So I asked them, and they said, "Here's your boyfriend's number," and they gave me my best friend's number. Because, if you need, which numbers do you need? And they gave me the numbers.
Okay, so you were booked.
And and then they left me. They told me good luck, and they were very, very nice. They're dicks at first, but they were very nice to me and polite, and they were very nice.
Okay. So then you were booked on this warrant. You were bailed out.
Yes. I was then. My boyfriend came down directly, immediately to the bond and had to have me bailed out. He had the money to bail me out, but he didn't have the properties, that you need to sign to, verify you have that much money or whatever. So he called my best friend Amy, and he said, Amy, I have all the money to bail her out, but I don't have the property, the house, whatever to put up, whatever. And Amy and Paul had been at a function, and they immediately left that function and drove straight to the bail office to put their home up
for me because she knew, is this that shit from last year? And she, oh fuck, and they immediately left and came and put their house up and to bail me out.
Okay. Did you have any contact with Stroman at all
Never saw him.
during that time?
Never saw him.
Okay, so now after you bailed out,
Well, no, I didn't just bail out right away. I had my granddaughter living with me at the time, and I needed to get home. And I said, come get me. I have to be here, you know. My bail was $35,000. And so the bondsman came down with all the paperwork and immediately, here's the $35,000. I'm here to bail out this person. He was then informed by the police desk that, oh, her bail's not $35,000, it's $70,000. He said, no, it's right here on the computer. This is what I go by, the state of California computer. It says $35,000. This is her bond. He goes, I don't care what the computer says. They made a mistake. It's 70. And so at this point, he had to come up and ask me, what do you want me to do? Because they're telling me it's 70. I've never seen anything like this before. I don't know. What do you want me to do? And I said, I need to be home for my granddaughter. I don't care what it is. Pay it. And so Amy and Paul, that's her husband, my friends, they put up their house. They put up the rest of the money, and I was released on $70,000 bail, even though the computer across the board said 35. Okay. And then soon after I paid the bail was then dropped back down to $35,000, and they said, "Oh, our bad, we made a mistake." But once I bailed out, I can't get any of my money back. I can't do anything. But nobody can get their money back. Nobody can do anything because once you sign a bond, you're committed to that bond. And they told me, the bondsman told me the only other way to do it would be to be rearrested, recharged, and that they would have to refund the bond company. And the judge when I went to court that following the second day or whatever said that's not going to happen. I signed for 70. I'm responsible for it. If they made a mistake, they made a mistake, whatever. But I mean, it was an intentional mistake because right after I was paid, they said, "Oh my God, we made a mistake. Our bad." Like I felt like they raised the bail on me, and
in other words, you had
upon
to pay,
talking to other people.
In other words, rather than paying $33,000,
I'd pay 70.
You paid $7,000.
Yes.
To the bondsman.
Yeah. Well, my friends did. Yes. And then when I got to the bondsman's office after being released, because you have to go straight there, the bondsman told me, this is a common practice of the Long Beach Police Department. They've done this. They raised the bail on you because they don't want you to get out. And they didn't think I would get out because, and I know this to be true because Stroman, that's the first thing he said to me in court. That was the first thing he said in court when I saw him.
Who?
Stroman.
Who's Sherman?
Stroman.
Oh, Stroman.
Yeah.
What did he say to you?
He said he thought I would be rotting away in jail with all the other drug dealers. How the hell did she get out for the 70?
Okay. So once you're out, do you engage an attorney?
I did not engage an attorney because I pretty much was giving up all my money just to be out of jail or whatever. And I had, like I said, I had my granddaughter. I went to the first 2 court dates to see how they were going to handle it, because this was all so, everything was so weird about this. I didn't know what was going to happen, and other people were saying, don't get an attorney yet, because some judge might look at this and go, this is all crazy, and might be dropped, or, I didn't want to engage an attorney until I was certain I was going to need one. So I went to the first 2 with a public defender.
You went to the first what?
Two court dates with a public defender.
Okay. Did anything unusual happen at those court dates? Was the first one an arraignment?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I walked in, the first thing, the judge not only, he
the entire that one was very short concerning me, but I would say the most lengthy part of that day was him saying, "What the hell? Not only she hasn't been arrested, I guess I don't know. There's if you've been arrested in so many years, you get enhancements and bail raises or whatever." He said, "Not only did you give her one, you gave her two separate enhancements. She hasn't been arrested since 2004." And he immediately lowered it to the 35, 440, or what, immediately, and that was put on record.
Was this Judge David Pierce?
No,
No.
it was the on the first floor.
Okay. Now, your second appearance, what occurred there? Did you have a lawyer then?
No, the public defender again, because the only thing they did was talk about the bail and him telling them that they had no business raising it, giving me an enhancement for not even one, let alone two. And then that was it. And then they told me to come back another day.
Okay. Was that the first appearance?
Yes, that was the first appearance.
What was your second appearance?
I was a little hopeful then. I thought, oh, that went well. You know, at least he was when some judge was on my side. I thought. The second appearance, I went back, and then they informed me. Like I was informed of the charges, my true charges, or because I had thought I did believe I was going to be in some trouble because I did have those pills in my pocket and I didn't have a prescription for them, and I don't abuse them, but I mean they're emergency pills, you know what I mean? And I've thought, oh, this is really bad. I'm gonna get a separate charge for every one of these. This is really, really bad. And then I found out that I wasn't even charged with any pills at all whatsoever. And instead I was charged with like a huge amount of methamphetamine.
Okay. And that's the day you found that out?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see any exhibits that day?
No.
No. You just found out how you were charged?
Yeah, it was a possession for sales. I knew it was a possession and a possession for sales. And but I still thought it was relating to the pills, you know, and then I found out it was.
You still thought it was related to the
pills.
small packet of pills that you had in your pocket?
Yeah.
But you discovered that day that that was not the case?
Yeah, I believe that was the day when the attorney said, "You're not be." I go, "It's only one," because I said it's only one charge.
Did you make the assumption after that you stated earlier that Stroman dropped the bag on the ground? Did you assume that you were being charged for possession of that bag?
No, because in my mind, I think I'm fairly intelligent. I thought, why on earth would he charge me for that one bag when he could get me on 7 charges for the little pills? Because it was a different pill. So I figured, oh, got 7 charges. Oh my God, I'm screwed. I'm gonna get in so much trouble. I was terrified because I thought I'm going to jail for some bullshit over this asshole. Okay. And then the guy goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Why is there only one? What was the pill?" You know what I mean? And he said, "What are you talking about, pills?" He goes, "You're charged with possession and sales of methamphetamine." And then I was thinking, for that one little bag? I was thinking, how can that be? Because it was a little bag. I was thinking, that's a program, or that's one bag. That'd be a possession, not sales. What are you talking about? And he goes, "I don't know. That's just," and then that's when I retained an attorney.
Okay, so your next what? Tell us about that.
I go to court, and I've been to court so many times, just like every month for the past year and a half or whatever. I went to court, and my attorney, I don't think it was that time. I believe it was the next time. That court, I believe, was a very short day because I had new counsel. He had to just be prepared, and they came back to come back again in the next month. And then that next time when we came back, he got the case file, the charges, or the whatever.
Your attorney
the
did?
packet, yes.
Okay.
And he brought the packet to the table.
What was your attorney's name?
Scott Dehan.
Scott?
Dehan.
Dehan?
Dehan,
Okay.
yeah. Dehaan.
Okay. Then what happened?
He brought over a file to the table, and
he gave me one, and he had, and I started to look through it, and the second page or third page or whatever, it was like a pyramid of dope built in the middle of a park with $100 bills sprinkled on it. And I slid it back over to him and I said, "This is the wrong file." And so he took it back up to the front to ask for the correct file.
You're speaking of a photograph that you saw on the
Yes,
file?
because it was
Describe that photograph that you saw.
it looks like a pyramid. It's like a triangle, a pyramid kind of dope. And it had a bag with, well, it had a little thing next to it with $100 bills sprinkled on it, on a blanket in the park.
On a bucket?
On a blanket or on something, on a blanket or something in the park.
Was the picture on green grass, or was it?
It's on a blanket.
Could you tell on which side of the fence that picture was taken?
No, it was on material. It was on a blanket or a towel or something of that sort.
I see. Do you recall how many $100 bills?
I believe there was at least 2 of them on there. I thought there was at least 2. I know there was money just sprinkled on top of it, like I was having a meth stand or something in the middle of White Bread America Park where there's no crime. Because I laughed because I remember even my lawyer saying, "Why is there just $100 bills? Like you don't accept anything less than $100. You only sell $100 worth. You know what I mean? Like I don't take." So we kind of laughed about
said
it.
That to you?
Yeah, and we kind of laughed about it because it was ridiculous. Like if anybody came, you couldn't even give anybody change.
So
when
when you said to the lawyer, "This is the wrong file."
Yes. He went
What
back up
happened
to the
then?
front and said, "You've given me the wrong file. I need Ritchie, R-I-T, spells my name out, goes back up there." And the lady starts to look, and then she takes that file back, and she looks, and she goes, "No." She looks at the numbers, I guess, because they don't put names, and they put numbers. She goes, "No, this is the correct file." He came back to the table and goes, "This is your file." I go, "This isn't my fucking file. Fuck, I didn't have any of what. This is my file." I was blown away. I was blown away. I could not believe that this was my file. I was so concerned about these stupid little pills, and now I have this pyramid of dope that I'm supposedly.
Okay.
I was terrified.
Then what happened?
They gave us another court date.
Okay.
The next court date, I went back, and Sergeant Stroman was there the first time.
Pause. We have a little bit of tissue on your eye. I just don't want you to. There. Sorry. Okay.
I believe that was, I don't know if we went back once or twice, and they kept offering me 15 years, and I kept saying, 15 years? Like, are you guys nuts? I already went through this shit for some shit I didn't do, and you were screwing me for the same thing I didn't do on before, because this idiot isn't capable of reading a file. Because if he would have read it, he would have said, "Well, this girl looks like she got screwed or didn't know anything the first time." And because they wouldn't tell on the main guy, they screwed her for it. And because I begged him before to read that file, just to please leave me alone. And he really, like, he wouldn't listen to me. He didn't let you speak much. So he came back in, and when he came back into court, he was so so smug and so adamant. He was like, everything was, yep, and, "Well, I can't even believe she's out on bail." Then we asked him, "Have you ever seen her or talked to her again since the day you arrested her?" He stated that no, he hadn't seen or talked to me since the day he arrested me, and that he assumed that I was rotting away in jail with the rest of the other drug dealers, and that he said, "I don't see how she got out on bail. I don't even know how she got out on bail." Something like that. And I was just, everything was matter of fact. So, yep. And then 15 years. And I was like, Oh my God.
Who's saying 15?
The court and the DA, that's all she's offering me is she's saying 15 years is on the table. And I'm saying, you guys are out of your fucking minds. I didn't do shit. I'm not taking no 15 years. I'm not admitting to anything because they were. And then they were, and we went back to court quite a few more times. And I refused every deal. And then, the next time we went back to court, when Stroman was in court again that day, or appeared in that court that day, I was sitting downstairs waiting for my attorney because he always instructed me to sit outside the courtroom door and not be inside and wait for him outside the door so you're not in, I didn't argue with him because he's a lawyer, I did what he said. And I'm sitting outside the courtroom. I got there at 8:30, and which I think is ridiculous because they don't even come till 9. But I was sitting out there, and here comes Stroman and one's Bobsy twin, Garrido, and they now are going for the biker look, I guess, and they have grown goatees and little beards or whatever. And
This is new?
This is new, yeah.
They didn't have the
He had a
goatees.
little bit of a one, but Garrido didn't have any, but he had a little bit of a one. He had the mustache, but now it's, because I guess they must change their appearance, whatever, so.
Okay.
And it was like, it wasn't long enough for him, so he always kept doing this, and I kept saying, pull harder, I'm thinking pull harder, maybe it'll grow faster, in my mind or whatever, just to myself. And he walked by me, and I was sitting out there, just sitting there, and I'm looking at him, and they're both looking at me with these just smug looks on their face. And when he walks by me, he walks by the courtroom, and he goes like this, like he's straightening out his beard thing, and he goes, oh, you're going down, bitch. And I go like this to him, and he goes into the courtroom, and I'm still sitting out there because that's where my attorney told me to wait. So I'm sitting there for like an hour, and then all of a sudden here these two come out of the courtroom, and he's walking by me again, and he does this again, and he goes, you're fucked. But each time he does it under the guise that he's just straightening out his little mustache beard thing, so it looks normal. And I just I was pissed, but in courtroom I said, "Fuck you!" And I stood up and I gave him I don't know how many.
Is this in the hallway?
Yes, in the hallway. I said, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and fuck you for trying to look like your little hero, you fucking goo, and I yelled at Garrido too, because I was mad. Then I thought, oh my God, I thought they were going to come out and get me in the hallway for, so I just sat back down, and I was so pissed. And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, where the hell's my attorney? And then, so all of a sudden, my phone rings, and my attorney's all, where the hell are you? I go, I'm sitting in front of the door like you told me to. I've been sitting here. It's 10 o'clock in the morning now. 10, a little after 10. I go, I've been sitting here since 8:30. Where the F are you? And he goes, you upstairs. And I said, it was here. He goes, they transferred it. So while they were in court, Stroman and his partner, they knew that it was transferred upstairs. And they walked right by me, threatened me, went upstairs and sat up there and waited. So when I got up there, everybody in the court was sitting there waiting for me like I was a no-show. And my bail was revoked. Like when I came in, they tried to rearrest me again. They told me that I was late.
When you came in, what happened when you came in? Take it step by step.
When I came in, my attorney told me what room to go to upstairs. It had been taken up there to, that was the first time for Pierce. It had been taken up there. And when I got into the courtroom, he said to remand the
defendant.
Whatever, remand into custody, whatever, or whatever. And I became spaghetti. Or what for what? No, I've been here. No, what are you talking about? And I said, I've been here since 8:30 this morning. I was downstairs waiting. I didn't know it was transferred up here. You know what I mean? And
Let me interrupt once. Was the judge David Pierce?
yes. And
Okay.
so,
And David Pierce said to you what?
they said I was late, I wasn't there, and and my bail was going to be revoked, and I was going to be taken into custody. And I said, no. I said, I've been here since 8:30. I go, he knows I've been here, and I pointed to Detective Stroman. I go, he knows because he's threatened me twice. I go, I've been here. And my attorney said, I know she's been sitting here. He was late, but he goes, she was downstairs, and he said, and he asked his Detective Stroman, did you see this young lady this morning or whatever? And he clearly says no. And I go, he's a fucking liar. I go, no, I've been here. I have been here. And he said, I am much more inclined to believe a decorated officer over you any day. He said, but I'm going to let you go to lunch with your attorney, and I suggest you have a really nice lunch because you're going to jail after lunch. And for what? He goes, because I was going to ruin the bailiff's lunch hour because he had to now sit there and go over court video to see if I was telling the truth. And I told him, I'm not even going to go to lunch. I'm going to stay here because I was here, and after that, I'm not going to jail. I'm not. I was here. He's a liar. And when we came back in after court lunch and the court adjourned, Judge Pierce went from this monster, I thought, to the nicest man in the world. He was more than apologetic to me. And
What did he say?
he said that he apologized because they saw me come in the door at 8:37 or something. They even told me what time I went to the bathroom, that I was in the bathroom at 9:17 or whatever for 4 minutes and exited and was sitting in the hallway. They say he knew I was there. And then he turned to the officer and he told him, like, he shook his head and said, like he was disgusted with them, and because he straight said he'd believe him any day over me, and because he has better credit, and he said, and then it was our turn to interview or to put him on the stand, and he said, get on the stand, officer, and he put Stroman on the stand. And before we went to lunch, anytime my lawyer tried to intercept or say something or object or ask a question, he was shut down. After lunch, when it was our turn, the judge was like, every question, answer the question, officer. And all of a sudden, Stroman became stupid. He became, he didn't know anything anymore. Before he testified, he was adamant about this, I did this, one stern. When I gave him the questions to ask, he didn't, where's the drugs that were taken? I imagine I guess they're in police evidence, I guess, in the locker. Did you test them? No. Did you fingerprint them? No. Did you use your camera? Or your personal camera? I don't remember. Did you take them in evidence? Did you print these in the police department here? Or did you do them at home? I don't remember that either. Did you ever see or talk to my client? No, never. So we read off his phone numbers. Well, whose number? We had his personal cell phone number and then his police number or whatever. Well, then why are these in my client's? Why does my client have these if you didn't talk to her? You said you never spoke to her. And by the time that court, when we left that courtroom that day, I thought, the nightmare's over, because this judge saw through everything, and the judge, he was so awesome, and he said, this is the flimsiest case I've ever seen. He goes, this is ridiculous. And he said when he left, he goes, he said, Miss Ritchie, I am sorry to tell you this, but because of your one previous offense from years ago, whatever, he said he dropped the other charges, and he said, nothing can be used from the day that you encountered this officer. Anything before is not allowed into testimony. Nothing from before in the past is allowed in. But he did have to send me to the next level on the one charge of sales, which And he said, but I'm sure you'll be just fine. That's what he told me when I left. And I thought, slam dunk. Because then when I left there, I don't know, upon asking other people and opinions and whatever, everyone was going, how do you have a sales case without a possession? How can you sell something if you don't possess it? And I was saying, well, maybe the judge said it. I was thinking I was being set up for, dismissed, because he was so nice to me afterwards. And I don't know, this whole thing has been a nightmare. And
Let me ask you this, Sandra. I know that there have been multiple court dates,
yeah, there's been a lot.
and I know that an associate has acquired the transcripts from your preliminary hearing, and I have been unable to connect the events surrounding the incident in the court having to do with Stroman lying and having to do with the video. Could you explain anything about why there might not be a transcript, or why you can't find that video?
I went down immediately. I was advised by somebody to get the transcripts, go down immediately after, get the transcripts and get everything from that day that happened in the court so that you have it. They didn't have them. There was they didn't have them. Couldn't get them. Kept asking for them, and they couldn't. It just was an excuse. Whatever. I couldn't get them, and the attorney tried. The court reporter seemed to have disappeared after that. The judge retired. I seemed like I was his last case. The judge was gone. The court reporter was gone. And no matter how many times asked, couldn't get any transcripts or couldn't get anything, to where it came to the point that that threatened to subpoena the DA's office to get these transcripts. And then when we did get them, it was like 2 pages of just straight one sentence questions with a yes or a no answer. I mean, like, this is nothing. Like, nothing is on here that happened that day. And then, so, okay, there's audio and video. I know this because they told me what time I pee here. So the audio and video were then asked for that day, and it was told that, I don't know, they had a glitch or something, and the audio and video was lost for that day.
Okay. And at this point, is it your understanding that when you move to the next level that still a 15-year?
No.
What? Tell me about that.
It was significantly dropped. It was not the next time I went into court. When the first time we went in there, they said they were prepared to offer me, I believe it was a 3-year joint suspension with probation.
What is that? 3-year joint possession?
Joint suspension with probation, meaning I could walk out of the courtroom that day. I would never have to serve 1 day in jail, and I would just be on probation for 3 years, and all I had to do was not get arrested.
Okay. And what did you say to that?
Fuck you.
Was that offer made to your attorney?
Yes.
Then what happened?
I was ordered back to court again and again and again and again and again.
How many times did you come back?
I came back, I don't know, 3 more or 4 more times, 3 more times after that, I guess, maybe.
With your attorney?
Yes, with my attorney.
And what's your recall on what occurred on
It got lower every time.
Well, tell me if you can recall. It went from this 3-year. It went from 15 years to 3 years to what?
Okay, yeah, no, let me see. No, wait, hold on, let me tell you. Wait, okay. The second time, it was a 3-year sentence they were offering me. And then I turned that down. And then next time, it became the 3-year joint suspension and probation.
thinking I would jump on that or something, and I wasn't taking it. I didn't do it. I wasn't taking. So then the next time we came back, it was a couple years maybe, joint suspect again, and or just in probation, or it was probation. Like I would have a probation officer or whatever, and I couldn't get in trouble, for that amount of time, and I turned that down too. And then the last time I was there, I believe it was it was a horrible court date. It was really weird. All these people in suits were there. Everybody that was normally there wasn't there anymore. The DA wasn't there. The bailiff had changed. Everybody in the courtroom had changed except for the judge. And the judge was very, he's a very nice man. He'd been very polite to me. He was always very nice to me. This day he seemed very angry, aggravated, pissed off. And there was guys in really expensive suits all up in my courtroom, and I was told to get out and wait in the hallway while all these people, I guess, talked about me, and I can't know. And this judge has one pet peeve. His pet peeve is if he hears a phone go off in court, he flips out because that's a no-no for him. That's like his pet peeve or whatever. And so when we go back in there, the other guy in the suit who...
Is this Judge Pierce?
No, Judge Pierce is that one day,
Okay.
he's gone. He retired after me. He's
This
gone.
is Judge who?
Ong.
Okay, continue.
And so Judge Ong is very irritated that day, and he's being kind of rude to me, and I'm thinking, wow, why is he being so mean? He's so nice. I had a lot of respect for this judge. He was a very nice man. He treated you with the respect or whatever. And these two men had come in, and they just like that $800 suit. I mean, you could tell they were very expensive. They're important people, and they were there instead of my prosecutor, my prosecutor wasn't even there. Somebody else was stepping in for that day. And the shorter of the men, who looked to be the more important one, and the other guy probably looked like his assistant or colleague or whatever, he sat in the juror's box the whole time when I was sitting there in court with his phone. And it was like pointed at me, like, is he taking pictures or video of me? And texting the whole time. And you could see the judge like looking, he was just livid. But it was like he didn't have control over his whole courtroom. And he was just mean that day. And Stroman and them were there. It was just a very odd day. It was very angry and hostile on
Was
that
there
part.
testimony taken that day?
Yes.
From whom?
Stroman.
So are you saying a trial had begun?
No.
Was there a jury?
No. The only one in the jury box was those people that came in and made the judge upset with their phones pointed at me.
What was the testimony about? I mean...
Had went right back to like he did in the beginning. Very like, it was her, she did it, dump, and then out of here. And then he took off out of the courtroom and sent in Garrido to sit and guard dog me, because they would antagonize me whenever they were around. Like sit there and do this. Things like this. Just little stupid things, and I would constantly do this to him. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't afraid. I mean, I was afraid of the court system. I don't know. I was afraid, but I wasn't afraid because I didn't think they were that smart. I thought they were just idiots with badges.
Is your lawyer still with you at this time?
Mm-hmm. And my lawyer was like, "What the fuck is going on in here?" And he was like,
Have you ever seen a transcript of that day?
No, everything we've ever asked for or tried to get, they've made nearly impossible to get, or it's taken months and weeks and months, or a month or over a month to get a transcript of a page of anything that happened in court.
I'm trying to understand on that day, what was the proceeding about? If Stroman was put on the stand and he was sworn in, what was the proceeding?
I
can't tell you. Like I said, this whole thing has been weird and crazy. Like, it's just, I don't know. He was in there now to, because I think that day they said after he was going to talk that if I didn't take their offer that day, then the next time we would come, it would be jury picking.
The next time you come in, what?
It would be jury picking.
So it was a pre-trial date.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was a pre-trial date for some motion hearings.
Yeah, because we were good.
Had your attorney made the motion, like, had he made his discovery
He had,
motions? Brady?
a little bit. I should have looked into attorney a little bit more. I took him on my boyfriend's advice at the time, and I didn't, and I just knew I didn't want a public defender, and I knew that he said he was okay, so I took him. But we were filing a Brady motion on Detective Stroman.
Right. Now, that day that you're speaking of that was strange, was it your opinion that were in the courtroom were from the district attorney's office or from the police department, or did you have any idea who they were and what their function was?
Out of curiosity, because they kicked me out of it, and then I started to ask, and I was asking questions because I was chummy with people outside. I mean, I was doing any kind of anything to see what was going on in this court, if something was going on, because I was being like my own investigator, because I was trying to figure a way out myself of this madness that was going on. And somebody had told me that that's the head DA for like the county, the one that they vote in or whatever, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is he doing here at my court date, you know? And the other guy in the hallway, he took a picture too, and I said, don't take my picture. Did you just take my picture? You know, it was like they were watching.
Who was taking your picture?
The guy that was in the jury box on his phone the whole time, pissing the judge off. It was like, even when they sent me outside, they sent somebody outside to sit and watch me. Not like literally sit and watch me, but go stand in peripheral, like, you know, and watch me.
Was your attorney inside the room at the time?
Nope, we were both outside.
They sent him outside as well?
Yes.
Okay. Let's back up to your preliminary hearing.
Okay.
When Stroman was on the stand, the transcripts indicate that your attorney began asking Stroman about the names of people.
Yes.
And in the transcript, they refer to an individual by the name of Kirkland.
Yes.
And they asked Stroman if he knew Kirkland. Tell me, back up to the park and tell me how you came to know the name Kirkland and how you later gave that name to your attorney to use in the preliminary hearing.
Because this John Kirkland, who I had a friend of mine who works for Home Depot, he had a little back place at his house, and he had rented the back place from him, and I went over there to help him. He showed me his new place, and I went over there to, you know, help him with some stuff. And
okay, let's back up. Let's get a little clarification.
Okay.
You have a friend that works at Home Depot.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's his name?
Donald Brady. Yeah.
Donald Brady?
Yeah.
Okay. Does Donald Brady own a house?
No.
No.
He rented from Kirkland.
Donald Brady rents a back house
Yeah, room off
from
the back.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So the man who approached you in the park a few days before you were arrested by Stroman, is that the man you've subsequently identified as Kirkland?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me how you came to identify him as Kirkland.
I was sitting over at the park because, like I said, it was a cool place to be. You know, it was very cooler there, and can't afford air conditioning going 24/7, and it's very bad for my bone. My doctors strongly advise against it. So I would go sit down there because of the breeze all the time.
Okay.
And Jonathan Kirkland came up to me in the park, and
Okay, this is the man that came up to
Yes.
you in the park on 2 or 3 days before
Yes,
you were
I
arrested
believe
by
3
Stroman.
days, yes.
Okay, but you didn't know his name at that time.
I didn't know him. I knew him as the guy my friend rented from.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier that after Kirkland solicited you for drugs, that you called
Donald.
Donald. Okay.
Yeah. I told him to leave, and
And-
he wouldn't leave. He just stood there.
Okay. So, after that event, how did you discover Kirkland's name? Did you talk to Donald?
Well, I found out his, well, like by now, after I got arrested and was going to court, I went into full investigation mode. I'm going to find out everything I can about this cop, Kurt, because I'm going to get myself out of this pickle. They're not going to do this again. I've already paid for it, and I'm not doing it again. So I went into investigative mode or whatever, and I found out John Kirkland's. Well, first I found out his name from somebody, and because I saw him when after the park, and I told him, dude, get the fuck away from me, leave me alone. But he wouldn't leave. He just kept standing there. And I called Donald and told him, what is this guy? What is the deal? And so Donald called him on the phone while he's sitting right there, and he goes, why are you bothering my friend? Get that, leave. And he was still standing. And I go, dude, get the fuck away from me, leave. And he slowly started to walk, and it was like a snail. And I'm thinking, why is this guy lagging so much? And so I thought it was suspicious, so I had to get up and maybe walk 25 or 30 feet so I could see the parking lot where he went to.
Yeah, you told us that. You saw the truck.
And I saw the truck. So
Okay.
I heard his name was John Kirkland. All right, and
Later you learned his name was John Kirkland.
I learned his name was John Kirkland from I asked Tom, I was at Big Lots. Tom worked at Big Lots. And I said, Tom, do you know the guy that Donald's living with? Do you know, or whatever? And he had I think his name is John Kirkland or something like that. You know, he didn't really, whatever. It's a small little area. People are pretty close there. And so I looked this guy up on the internet, everywhere, because everyone has a footprint of somewhere at school, whatever, and I couldn't find nothing on this guy. So he was like a ghost, and I was like, his wife, him, you have that kid, and there was nothing. And I'm thinking, not even an arrest record, which, if you've been arrested, which I found out was a bank robber, and he was a Nazi lowrider, and he had told on him or whatever, and supposedly he worked for Stroman, and that
Did you ever learn John Kirkland's real name?
Yes, and I want to say Owens. I mean, I could find out I think I might have it in my phone. But that's not his real name, because I did when I looked him up under his real name. And then I found all the information with his wife and everything else. But I found out that him and his wife worked for Kirkland. But maybe a day or two after that, my friend Dave
Who
called
worked
me.
for Kirkland?
Him and his wife. John's wife and him worked for Stroman. Worked for Officer Stroman.
Right.
Okay, and then maybe I was looking them up and trying to find out information. I got a phone call from this guy named Dave I know, and he goes, oh my God, you will not believe what just happened. And I'm like, what? He goes, we were up at the center, and that Johnny guy, he came up there. He said he was just a mess, sweating, just frantic and ranting and raving. And I said, what happened? He goes, he yelled out and screamed in front of everybody, I'm the snitch. I told on
Jamie and Sandra, and he started naming off all these people in that little neighborhood that he has told on. And he goes, I hate this motherfucking Stroman fucking asshole. He lives next to me. I can't take it anymore. He's pressuring me to get someone. And the guy was running out of people to get or do because he didn't know. And he goes, I'm a piece of shit. He said, I'm gonna go home and kill myself. And he went home from there and went home and stabbed his wife and tried to kill himself. And went to prison.
Was he arrested for stabbing his wife?
Yes, because apparently somebody told me that once you commit a crime, something like that, that whoever was employing you as their snitch before, all of a sudden disowns you and says, "Oh, you're not with us no more. We're not backing you." So,
Let's take a break and give you time to find the name in your phone, and we'll come back on camera.
okay.
And we have lunch here now too.
We can have some
Yeah,
lunch.
that's probably a good time.
Okay, we're back. And Ms. Ritchie, we left off discussing John Kirkland, the man who approached you in the park, the man who you saw get into Detective Stroman's truck. And you later learned that John Kirkland was really not John Kirkland.
Not at first.
And what? Tell me what you did to. You started an investigation. You wanted to find out about John Kirkland, who lived in a house with his wife, who rented an apartment to various people in the back. What did you find out in your investigation about John Kirkland?
Well, after I heard about he had this breakdown and at the local little watering hole where everyone hangs out, and said he was going to kill himself to get away from Stroman. Then I heard that he stabbed his wife and himself, and I couldn't find anything about it in the papers, an article, an arrest. I couldn't find anything on this man, and I just thought this was the oddest thing. So I went into full investigation mode because I was going to find out anything and everything I could. I found out that wasn't his true name. That somebody else that told me that that house is basically a house for Stroman he uses them, or everyone who's lived in that house for the past couple of years has subsequently been arrested by Stroman, except for
You're
one.
saying everyone who lives in the rental.
Yes.
And the rental is, the landlord is Kirkland.
Yes, and as after a few days of being there, they'll say, "Hey, do you get hot?" You know what I mean? They basically take people that they know are on the streets or whatever, people that they are out and about, and they get them to buy drugs for them.
Okay, now you found out that John Kirkland, that's not his real name.
No, it's not his real
And
name.
what'd you find out his real name
I found
is?
out that he was John O'Neill, a former bank robber from the Nazi lowriders.
Okay. And do you know, after he stabbed his wife and tried to kill himself, was he arrested?
He was in prison, yes, or jail. I don't know where he was, but I don't know where he was because neither me or is my attorney, because you can go online and check people in prison or where they are, whatever. Even under that name, we couldn't find him under an O'Neill or Kirkland. I don't know if he was in prison or jail. I just know that after we brought him up in the last one, like when those suits came in, that within a week somebody called me and told me, you'll never guess what. Fuck, I saw Johnny today at the donut shop. He's out. And I thought, are you kidding me? Who stabs anybody and is out in less than a year? That's a violent crime. That's 85%. I was just like, a bank robber and stabbings, and he gets less than a year, and they want to give me 15. I thought, this is absurd.
So did John Kirkland move back into that same house?
Yes.
With his wife?
Yes.
Okay.
And I found out that more people, even while he was gone away in prison or jail, wherever he was, that that she works with Stroman fully, and that everybody that's ever been in that house has been arrested, except for one person that I know who told him, "Fuck you, I'm not a snitch," and they ended up getting a program or something, and Stroman's been harassing them ever since they've been
This
out.
person, you're saying that this is one person who rented the house, the back house
It's lost all of their
from
stuff.
Kirkland O'Neill,
Yeah.
and was subsequently arrested by Stroman,
Like everybody.
who tried to do the same thing to her as he did to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that person told him what?
Fuck you, I'm not a snitch. And they were subsequently charged, and they had not been arrested in a very long time, and something went on, but that person ended up, I guess that new law had passed, and they got a program, so he didn't get to see them go to jail like he wanted to. I guess they got a program.
You mean they had their case suspended to go into some kind of drug program?
Apparently they're not arresting anybody anymore
Uh-huh.
for drugs. They're just giving them all programs now. Unless they,
What's that person's name?
her name is Joy.
Joy?
Yeah.
You know her last name?
I do know her last name. I've not asked her if it's okay to I hate to involve people that, because Stroman harasses her all the time, and I would hate to put her into something and not without asking her, and then for him to just fuck with her more.
Okay, I understand that. So,
But she did tell me that she did not get any of her belongings back, like everybody else that moves into that house. Once they get arrested and taken away by Stroman, that these two that work for him, his wife and John and his wife, that as soon as they see you show up on their door, they call the police and say, "I don't know this person, they don't live here," and they keep all of the belongings of everybody that Stroman arrests, and they keep all their stuff.
let's go back to the day the suits were in court. When is that the day that the judge? Well, tell me what the judge said to you that day.
He was so awful that day. It wasn't even the same person. I really thought this judge is a great judge. He treated me with utmost respect, like everybody else in the courtroom, and I thought this is the fairest judge ever. And I have a great shot with this guy because he was so fair and nice and polite, and he wasn't like, "Oh, you're a criminal," like some of them could be or whatever. And that day in court, he was pissed, aggravated. He was horrible. He was extremely rude to me. He implored that to seriously think about, reconsider to take this deal because the deal is off the table after this, and
the deal is what?
Summary probation for a year.
And the judge told you that you should take the summary probation for a year, or that would come off the table? The judge said that, not the district attorney?
The judge repeated what it was, and then he asked the district attorney, please, to advise that what is after this day, what is going to happen. And then she said the deal is off the table. The deal is off the table, and it's 15 years when you come back next time.
Okay, and is that the last time you've been to court?
Yes. No, I went one more. I went again after that, one more time.
Okay, tell us about that time.
The next time I went to court, well, if I could back up, just a little bit. When I went to court that day, I had been living with my boyfriend, and we'd been together for a few years, and we never really argued. He never was violent. He never did anything to me. But I don't know, that morning, 10 minutes before I was supposed to be in court, he got up and he hit me in the face, and he hit me in the face and ran out right past my lawyer, and he hit me in the, and I was like, and my lawyer combed my hair over the other side of my face, and I looked like the flock of seagulls, and said, "Get it together, we got to go to court." And I was thinking that he would take me to the police department after court and file charges or do something of that fact, because I had already been told by somebody else, I don't think your lawyer is representing you right, or that maybe he's talking to the other side or something.
It's your understanding that your lawyer and your boyfriend
my
are
lawyer, my
friends.
boyfriend, he's my boyfriend's friend.
Okay,
And since that day, the representation
Okay.
was just...
Okay, let's go back to that
Nothing.
last day in court. What happened that last day in court?
We were waiting for my attorney to show up. He was late as usual. He showed up, I believe, 50 minutes late for court. And he went into court. I was on the phone talking to other attorneys on the line because I was going to fire him in court that day. And he went in, and I saw him go in, and so I said, I have to go, court's gonna start, I have to be in there, because after the last court date of him aggravated, I didn't want to be mad, or so I immediately wanted to get in there right behind him. And I went in there, and just the district attorney was in there, and like...
Is that a new district attorney?
No, now the other one is back again now.
Okay.
Okay, the original one. He's not anywhere to be found, but then I could hear him, and he was in the chamber with the judge.
Your attorney was?
Yes.
Okay.
And he was talking very loudly, and I heard what he was saying, and he was saying things that were completely false and untrue. And
What did he say? What was he saying to the
He told
judge?
the judge that I was impossible to work with, that he can't represent anybody that won't help him help me, that I was impossible, and that he believes I'm on drugs, and maybe, I don't know what her problem is, but I can't do this. She won't cooperate.
Had you already told your attorney that he was going to be fired?
No, but I had talked to other attorneys, and I don't know. Well, am I allowed
Okay,
to say
go
I was
ahead.
talking to Sergio, or I don't know if I'm I was
So-
talking to Sergio this time. Everybody's telling me I have to fire
Okay.
him.
So you overheard him talking in judge's chambers?
Yes. So I went in, and then he came out, and the judge said, take your client back there and talk to your client. So me and my attorney went into the little room right before you go into the courtroom, and he said, so are you going to fire me? What do you want to do? And I said, I have one question for you. Is the Brady motion complete? And he said, no. And I said, why the fuck not? We've had 3 extensions, and this is why the judge is so mad, screaming and yelling, because this one piece of paper he had to do, and this is the 3rd time he's got an extension, and he doesn't have it ready. And he said, no. He goes, and I said, why the fuck not? Is it not? I go, he screamed and yelled at us, and they wanted to arrest me, and they were pissed at you. This is not how you do it. And he goes, you don't know anything about the fucking law. This is called strategy. And I go, your strategy sucks. You're an asshole. You know what I mean? I go, you're not for me or anything. He also told the judge that she's convinced I'm working with Stroman and I'm his friend, and that I'm talking to Stroman. She's convinced of it. And I said, why'd you sit there and go in there and lie to him and say all this stuff? And he looked very out of it, kind of, or whatever. And I said, you know what? You're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? I go, yeah, you're fucking fired. So we went back into the courtroom, and we went up to there, and the judge, Miss Ritchie, he had a total attitude with me again, and I'm thinking, what happened to this judge? You know, why is he such a dick now? Because he was just so, I really enjoyed this man. I thought he was a very nice man. And He told my attorney he wanted to thank him for his outstanding performance and representation, and that he did a great job, and that you can't always get a good client. Some of them are just like that, they're talking shit about me right in front of me while I'm standing there, and then when I go to say something, I'm told to shut up and sit down, basically, that I can't say anything, which is, you're sitting here talking about me in front of me, you know what I mean? And he told me to be quiet, and he thanked him to pieces and told him what a great job he did, and then told him he was free to go, but he had to wait while they got another a public defender to stand in for the day, and that he needed to give my files to her, to whatever, and he told him to wait. He said, "Can I wait outside?" And he immediately was gone, took off. And so here comes the public defender and the one that's standing in for him. And where's my attorney? Oh, well, I guess he's outside. No, he's not out there. He's not here. He's not there. So she's, well, let me go. He was at the office where they were come from or whatever, trying to hand off the folder real quick, saying he had to go and leave. But she caught him, and she talked to him for a few minutes. That when she came back, she instantly said, "I need to talk to my client." And she pulled me into the side room, and the first question she asked me, she goes, "Is your attorney on drugs?" She goes, "He's fucking high as a kite." And she went straight to the prosecutor's table and said, "That guy's fucking high. He's fucking high as a kite. We need to do something about that. That guy's on drugs. I'm telling you right now." And when she asked me, I said, "I don't know. I just know that since the hitting and that thing, that I no longer received any representation," because I told my attorney, "Are you not aware that I have every text message, phone call, and everything? I have kept record, and I have every single one of them since the day I met you. And I have hundreds of phone calls like, please call me." He's canceled every single meeting we ever had outside of, I've never seen him other than showing up an hour late every time for court at that time, and never seeing him again or talk to him again.
Okay, so then what happened now?
The PD got the file, and she goes, "This is the file?" Because it's a couple pages, it's just a few pages. It's like, there's nothing in it. And she goes, "How long have you been going to court?" And I'm like, "It's been over a year and a half, whatever." And she goes, "Are you fucking kidding? This is her file? This is it?" And I said, "Yeah." And she went through the file, and she goes, "What the fuck is going on here?" She goes, what is, she goes, "Look, I am representing you today. I can't be your attorney because I'm on something else. You're going to be appointed somebody else." She goes, "But there's something going on here." She goes, she gave me a piece of paper, and on the piece of paper she wrote, "Do not give," she goes, when you come into this office to talk to anybody, whatever, if you bring anything," she said, "to make sure I taped it around on both top and bottom, both sides, and in red letters, huge red letters, and only hand it to the person, make sure it's handed to the person that's representing me only. Do not let anybody else in this office have this file."
And that was your last appearance
Yes.
in court. Okay, let me refer back.
Okay.
Let me refer back to the day that all of the stuff occurred before the preliminary hearing about Stroman lying and the judge finding out that happened. I'm going to hand you a copy of the court docket, and if you would read the last paragraph in the court docket, would you read that aloud?
It took months to get this. The preliminary hearing transcript received appears to be incomplete. The preliminary hearing reporter Stephanie Zumbo has been contacted regarding the transcript. And she's disappeared. We had to subpoena her, and they said that they lost all video, audio, and everything of that day.
And that new attorney, the public defender, she did say something else besides that. She told me there's no possible way that they lost all video and audio in this courthouse for that day. She said, all you need to do is find another court case in here that has any of that, and that's a lie then. She said, there's something going on here. She said, you gotta find somebody else, but look, this is bullshit.
Okay, now let me take you back to the day of the suits, where they were there. You know an individual by the name of Sergio Sandoval.
Yes, I do.
Was Sergio Sandoval present in the courthouse that day?
Yes.
Did you have contact with Mr. Sandoval that day?
I knew he was coming, and I had even called him before because he wasn't there and the suits were there, and I saw that something very strange was going on.
Okay. Could you tell me what you learned that day from Mr. Sandoval in terms of your communications with him?
I learned that first he was before we started the proceedings. It was pointed out before we even started to the court. They wanted to know who he was and why he was there, in the audience.
The court did?
Yes, in the audience, and he stated that just for pure observation. This is a new, just we're lawyers, observation. You're learning. And
who asked that question?
The judge.
Okay.
It started, like I said, it was a very weird day. It was very odd. It was just terrifying day. But he subsequently was chased out of the courtroom and chased down the hallway into the bathroom by Detective Stroman and threatened and questioned, I guess. And he called me from the bathroom and he asked me, can you because he knew they cleared the courtroom and I was somewhere, but he said, you have to go to the bathroom and come down there and please meet me down there. And he was in the bathroom across the way, and he came out when he heard, and we stood in the bathroom doors and spoke down there because they had chased him down there. And I had to because I had Stroman's partner. He was watching me while Stroman and the other guys ran after Sergio.
Did you talk to Sergio when you met up with him?
Yeah.
What was the substance of that conversation?
He said, he told me, I do not talk. He goes, we think your attorney is been tainted, and you gotta find somebody else. And I'm leaving. I have to get out of here. He goes, because he was a little frightened of Stroman and his ganging up on him and chasing him into the bathroom, which I find ridiculous to do that to lawyers. In a courthouse. And he got out of there and he said, as soon as you are done, get out, please call me and get in touch with me, and we have to meet up. I don't want to talk to you anymore here because it was very odd, creepy. It was a very, very weird day.
Did you subsequently learn from Mr. Sandoval that he filed a complaint with the Long Beach Police Department regarding Stroman's behavior that day?
Yes.
So it's your information that complaint would be on file with the Long Beach Police Department?
Yes, and he informed me that on my behalf that they were since they won't provide any records to my case or anything that ever happens in my thing for me to, even to my attorney, how can we represent myself if they won't even give us any of their evidence, give anything, that we had to subpoena the DA's office to get my own case file.
Okay. Now let's think back on each court date. When your court date was over each time, and you left the courthouse, what occurred start with the first court date and...
It didn't start occurring until the day Stroman was caught lying. on
The day he was what?
Caught lying. I would be pulled over and like I tell anybody, if you come get me and pick me up from court, make sure you have nothing in your car, just clean as a whistle, anything. Don't even your mirrors, your lights work, everything, because I wouldn't get 2 or 3 blocks from the court every time, and I wouldn't get pulled over by a police car. One would come behind me, and as I pulled into the gas station or anywhere I'd come, 3 more would come in each driveway and surround the car. I was pulled over by 3 or 4 police cars every time.
And what happened each time when you were pulled over?
The first thing they'd always do is order me to sit on the ground at a gas station, which, I don't know. They say I'm a bitch, but you know what? That's grease and gas, and I'm dressed for court, and I'm not sitting on the ground or the floor because I haven't done anything. I'm a passenger in a vehicle.
Right.
And they are, my one friend, his name is John, that picked me up that day. They interrogated us. They all, can we search the car? No, you can't. For what? What do you do? You know, why? What did we do? We haven't done anything. What are you pulling us over for? There was never, because we made a turn. We were sitting at a light and they're swarming and get us. And it was just like, they would all stand around the car, like 4 or 5 of them, and just peer into the car for 10 minutes looking for anything, like just searching, like to see if they could find one thing.
Was Stroman ever with them?
No, never.
Okay, this gas station incident that
time.
Stroman lied.
That was the first
How
time.
far away were you from the courthouse?
I made it to when you could leave the courtroom, 4th Street or whatever. I made it to 4th Street in Atlantic. When we turned left on Atlantic, or 6th Street in Atlantic, and when we turned left on Atlantic, as soon as we turned left, I saw a police car coming towards this way, and I go, oh, we're fucked. And my friend goes, you're paranoid, knock it off. Stroman doesn't have that much. And I go, dude, I'm telling you. And it's, look, he was on the opposite side, 2
And
cars
who is your
back.
friend?
John, yeah. And John Parker. And then they said they were searching for somebody named Jonathan. Oh, we must have the wrong people. And then they drove away and left.
Okay, after that incident, that was the day that
I was stopped.
Stroman lied on the stand. When was the next time you left court and was stopped?
Well, I stopped having people pick me up from court. I would walk, I would be followed. I'd walk through the promenade. I'd go down where all the shops are. I'd be followed into all the store, and I would just take them on a goose chase. And they'd stop me, a couple blocks, maybe Pine and I got a few blocks, and they stopped me. They said they saw me jaywalk.
Okay, was this a uniform officer that stopped you?
They're always uniformed police officers.
The other times they were
They're all
uniformed.
uniforms.
He stopped you and said you jaywalked.
Yeah, and 3 more cop cars showed up.
And 3 cop
Yeah,
cars
for a
showed up.
jaywalker, yeah.
All in uniform?
Yeah,
And what, did they write you a ticket?
no.
What did they do during that stop?
Well, they prevent me from going into my purse or getting access to my phone. And but that time I was pissed off, and they were gonna take me down because as soon as I pulled my phone out and it turned the camera on, they all jumped in their cars and drove away.
Okay. Did you get any of it on camera?
What? Well, it was kind of like when they were coming to my house when they found out where I lived. They were coming there for 5 days in a row, pounding and beating on my door, trying to break my door down. And for
This is after a court appearance?
Oh yeah, so I had Sergio was on the phone. He recorded the whole thing.
Okay. Okay, so
I was constantly
you
harassed.
have the
after
next
that.
one after the court. You're walking, they stop you, and then when you pull your phone, they leave.
They leave.
Did you get any footage of that?
I had the when I was at there. No, because you have to unlock your phone, put your code in, unlock it, try to get it, and they all would take off.
Okay. Up to that time, had anybody come up to your door?
No, not at that time yet.
Okay.
No.
So the next court appearance. what
Next court
happened?
appearance, there was a car following me. I knew it was following me, and it was an undercover car, a little white car. And he just kept I kept seeing him.
And you're walking this time again?
I'm walking because I don't want to have anybody else go through all this shit because my friends have been very supportive and shit of me, but
they've never been to jail. They're school teacher, this, that. They don't know what to do when stuff like that happens because they're afraid, or and I just don't want to put my friends through that, So I would just walk, I took him to Ross, and then I took him and went and got my eyebrows. I just made it to where they would go, fuck this bitch, and leave me alone and go away, which they eventually did. And then I jumped on a bus and took a bus, and then I'd go down. I never went to my house down my street through a block. I had found a neighbor on the other block, like 3 buildings down, that if I could get through that building and then get over the fence, I could get to my back fence and climb up, so that they didn't know where I lived because they were harassing me and following me. So that's how I got in and out of my house. I'd have to hop over 2 fences and go if I wanted to go to the store.
Okay, so when did they start coming to your front door?
That was in July. For a whole week in July, they came to my door.
July, were you going to court during that month?
Yeah, and I moved. I subsequently, at the end of the 6th day of them trying to break my door down they broke all the blinds. They broke the air conditioner thing out the window. Every single time, if I took a camera and went to go open the curtain and take a camera, they all ran. Every one of them ran.
Was Stroman ever among them?
Stroman wasn't in with them. They were always uniforms. And then
they were uniforms.
Oh, they were always uniforms. And then but I had my friends who knew, and I had shown them. They all knew what Stroman looked like, or pictures or whatever. And my friends would literally park a block or 2 away because they were scared. They didn't want to be like harassed or tagged because of him, because they were like, what if he just does like me? He just throws a bag of dope at you and goes, oh, there you have it, arrest her. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, they're teachers or this or that. I can't have that, Sandra. You know what I mean? So, but my friend had parked up on Walnut in Anaheim to the taco place to walk down to my house. And she said she got halfway down the block, and Stroman was catty corner from my building, like halfway down the street, dressed as a bum and had like dirt on his face and wearing bummy clothes. But she said a perfect hair, mustache, perfectly cut, trimmed. You could tell it wasn't a bum by any means. And said, hey, what's up? Nah, can I have a quarter? You got anything to eat? You know what I mean? Like a bum would ask you for change, or hey, what's up? What's up? And then another person came by, and my friend Dana told me that he goes, what's up, bro? And Dana turned around instantly because he knew it was Stroman, and he went right back to his car and drove away. Said, I can't give you a ride. He goes, Stroman's on your block. He's dressed up like a bum. So then I had my neighbors looking out for me, who my neighbor had filmed a couple of things, and they were coming to my door every hour on the hour, Stroman and Garrido, and they would every time like do a different knock, like I had some kind of knock or something, and they were always dressed like as a utility man or a bum or just a regular person, and just knock and then they would go away. I had the place shut. I was virtually a prisoner for a week, and I was telling, how am I going to get out of here, Sergio? What should I do? And Sergio was just like, oh my God, we got to get all of this on video and all of this. But I just didn't have all that kind of equipment there to do it, and I was afraid to leave my house. So I eventually, after the last time, they told my neighbors, they're coming back. I heard them over talking. They said they're coming back at 10 a.m. They're coming back tomorrow at 10 to meet here at 10, and we're getting in that fucking place tomorrow. So I left. I escaped in the middle of the night, and I left, and I went to San Pedro, got out of Long Beach, only for that fucker to come to San Pedro. I don't know. Apparently there's somebody else that he's harassing that filed a suit and won against him. That's Sergio and them's client, and I had no idea their shop was there. I was living a block away from it. And I went right by there, and they go, he sits out in front. He's been reported and on record and filmed by those people. As why is this Long Beach cop sitting in front of our place watching us? Doesn't he have a job to do in Long Beach? I must have walked right past him and didn't realize it because he was in a different undercover car, a white van, and he saw me. Next thing I know, someone goes, "Do you know anybody in a white van?" And I said, "No, why?" They go, "There's some guy down there," and he has like goatee, like, and he's just sitting in a car down your street, like across, facing your, like looking this way. And I said, I knew now that he had a white van because when I reported it to them, they told me they had him on record for harassing the other guy in a white van, and I knew it was him. And so my friend had binocular, and I looked at the thing and. Motherfucker, so there I had him. I've moved 6 times in less than 2 years. I'm just at my wit's end, and I'm relying on friends and people where I could not have my name attached to anything as to where this guy can find me.
And your next court
Next Friday.
next Friday? Okay. Let's take a break.
On those, I would plead guilty because I was guilty of that. But I'm not saying yes to this when I had that.
Okay. Well, and that's the next chapter of this whole thing. What I'm going to do now is kind of sum up some of the little individual points that I've listened to, and I'm going to kind of end up introducing it back again. Okay, I'm back. Got a couple of details I want to cover that just to fill in the gaps of anything and some of the statements. And
Can we just turn off the fan? That's
Yes,
the one.
I got it.
Sorry about that.
Turn off your life light.
then the torture will be over. Okay. You all good? You need another minute or anything? Or okay, great. It's about 3:35 on the 9th. We've been going for a few hours on that. One of the things that I forgot to mention early on is not only are we in Long Beach and in this county of Los Angeles, we're in Long Beach and it's about 100 degrees outside. So everybody in the room is sweating. You're the one that's on camera sweating, so apologize for that in advance. But it's been pretty uncomfortable. But we've gone over a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of details. You can see it on your face. It's emotional. You've definitely been through a lot, and I want to thank you for hanging in there and being as detailed as you are. A lot of people that have been through the kind of things you've been through, they want to forget about it, and you're sorry to make you relive it, but this is important, and I think we're getting the truth out. A couple of things we mentioned. You were talking about phone text, the text messages that you had in your phone. Did your attorney have a printout of those text messages? Or were they just on your phone?
We just had, it wasn't a phone, it was, I had my phone, sorry, I'm thinking of the day when he arrested me and I had the iPod. We had it there, and then when we went, he goes, he would drive me home. After he drove me home quite a few times because he knew what was going on, and he would go to the freeway. He'd always drive to the property warehouse. He'd drive out to see if we were being followed, or take him back to the police department, and then he would drop me off behind my block so I could jump over the fences and go in, whatever. And the phone, when he goes, we were leaving the courthouse. He said, "Give me that. I want that because." I want it in my possession because I don't want him to get it from you because we have no idea what they're going to do at this point.
No, this is Scott Dehan,
yes.
Right? And so he had your phone.
I know I was going to give it to him and I was going to turn it off or the bat, whatever.
Yeah.
And when I went to click on it, there was a screen on it and it said, it just had one option. There was no option like, you turn your phone off, on, whatever. The one option was to reset.
Okay, so there's no...
Everything was gone.
Okay, but it's not really gone. If you have a phone, the text messages, no voicemail messages, but the text messages, that's part of the data that's recorded on your phone, and that can be gotten from the carrier itself with a subpoena. So I'm just saying that I just wanted to see if they did that or if you made arrangements to your phone carrier to do it.
And I believe that was, like I've said, like I've moved and I've changed my number, multiple times in this past. I believe I was with, Metro. I believe I was with Metro at that point in time.
Okay.
And it scared me. You're like looking at the door. I'm thinking, I'm gonna break in here and go, this interview's over.
That's the ex-cop in me.
Well, I know, but when you got that look, I got scared. Or
okay, but that's I was just kind of covering. I just want to make sure there wasn't a transcript there.
but I mean, he's in full evidence of seeing them, reading them, knowing.
Okay, so he can make a statement
I
that
could
he saw
subpoena.
it, so
We
that-
could subpoena him just like
Okay.
the judge.
Next thing, now in the now Sue was with you during a couple of contacts. She saw a lot of stuff. The second time, when Kirkland came up and tried to buy drugs, from
She
you-
was sitting with me.
Oh, she was sitting with you, and
Yeah.
she heard him hit you up.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So she's a good witness there. Did she see the next day where Stroman had approached you from behind?
It was 3 days later, and
days
she
later.
was coming. She was getting out of her car with Blitz. That's her dog. He's a great dog. I love him. And she was getting out to let Blitz out, and Blitz was charging over door, and she was ordered back to stay back.
Okay.
And
So she didn't see Stroman with the gun in his hand or anything.
she saw the one yelling at me and was kind of looking at him and looking at me because I was doing this, and I saw her, and they were both like, that parking lot and how the side, they're both coming from the same place maybe, but they're 150 feet apart maybe.
Yeah.
And so, they both would have had to come like this, and she was ordered back because by the time Garrido got there,
Okay, so she wasn't up close to the city gap.
but she kept coming up and going, "What are you doing? What's going on?" Because she was afraid what they were doing to me or whatever, and she was ordered back or threatened with arrest
Okay.
or whatever, and she stayed there after they took me away to watch and see everything that they were doing.
So she saw the general incident, which is great as well. How about Tom or Bruce? Were those guys in the park at the time of this contact at all?
Okay, well, Bruce wasn't, and Bruce is he's the local. He's there, but he's a drinker. He's a bum. He gets taken in for drinking in public when they get mad at him. He's hilarious, I might add. He's the funniest guy ever. But, when he pisses them off, because, you know what I mean? They take
And he
me every
goes-
now
he
and
goes
then
to jail.
for a couple days to dry out, and they let it back out. He was not there, but Tom had been in his structure, little thing, tent, whatever, right there, next to Bruce. He was asleep in there.
Okay, so he was there.
He was ordered out, and he would not let them. They wanted to know his name. He refused to give him his name, and they tried to bully him and he was like, he knew his rights. He wasn't a stupid guy. Like I said, he lived in a house across the street until he lost it, and he refused to give him his name, and he refused to let him search his shit, and he was adamant about it and telling him, "I don't owe you shit. Fuck you. Get away from me. What are you can't even write me a ticket. You're not even on city property. This is county property, because the riverbed, I guess, is county property. It's not city property because the police at the college can't go in there, therefore, and the college police can't go onto the city, and the riverbeds are county." And Tom was, "You go get an LA County sheriff, and they'll fucking listen to you." And then they told him, "Get the fuck out of here. We don't want you anyways."
So good. So Tom had day and all. Okay. The paperwork that we talked about, the pink slip, those kind of things. Do you still have that, the release paperwork or anything? Because it exists in other places. I'm just wondering what you have that you
I've
can.
been looking for it, and I had a picture of it. Because
Okay.
I took a picture of it because I sent it to a few people going, "Have you ever seen any shit like this before? Released on insufficient evidence of a crime? What is that? If you have all this drugs, how is that insufficient? You've got plenty of evidence right there." You know what I mean? So it was like,
Well, I mean we talked before. It's pretty clear that Stroman was
It
trying
was
to
just-
recruit you to work.
that's all he wanted me to
And
do was
the
work
drugs
for
that
him.
that you say he dropped at your feet were clearly the hammer that he had over you to make you work for him.
Yeah, but I still don't understand how that one little bag that he dropped with a little bit in it turned into all this pyramid of 45 minutes of whatever he was doing over there by himself and ordered everybody away.
Now, with all the back and forth, the contact you've had with Stroman, the phone calls and the text messages and all that, did you ever do any work for him any way, shape, or form?
Never. I hung up
Never.
on him every time because he screamed and yelled, and I told him he needed to learn manners.
The only conversation I really had with him is I told him if he was smart, he would shut up and listen to me, because obviously he needed people like me to do his job for him because he's an idiot. He called me more names, and that's when I told him, well, remember what you did to me at the park the other day? And he goes, we're going to get fucking past that. And I go, yeah, we sure are, because fuck me and I fuck you back. And I hung up the phone on him and I left town.
So you definitely were not his best friend after these phone calls.
No.
And okay, you never
yeah.
did any work, never talked to, never contacted any other detective.
No.
What about what was the other detective's name?
His twin, Garrido.
Garrido.
He's a dick. He looks just like him. He tries to look.
So Garrido never contacted you. Never had any contact.
No, the only thing I've ever heard is that that there's that they have my name is out on the street as to my locations will be rewarded for my location.
Yeah. Okay. When in the park, when Stroman dropped the drugs at your feet, you saw him do that. That came out of his hand, and it was the way you described it seemed to be like a lot of theater. Like, oh, look what's on the ground.
Gentlemen, I gotta re-queue audio. This buffered out. So.
Yeah, he
Okay.
didn't even know the pills were in my pocket yet.
Yeah. So we'll pick up on that. Yeah. Just the.
Am I going to be charged and arrested for that? But I've been saying that since the beginning. Like, because there's a picture, the first picture.
If nobody's mentioned it yet, it's.
I've said in court, charge me with the drugs I had, not those.
Yeah.
I've said it in court. But the very first picture that they have a picture of a small, and the pictures are so dark, you can barely see anything.
they're
They're so
Xerox.
fucked up. Yeah, they're so fucked up. But look at the first one. I go, look at, you can see it. Look at, there's a Xanny bar. There's you can see the shapes of a pills in that very first picture, because there's only a picture of one little container, and then the next page is the pyramid of dope that he built.
Okay. What I'll do is I'm gonna ask once we go back on video. I'll go ahead and ask about the black box and how you know about the black box, that kind of thing.
I believe me, and I don't enjoy it because I really but they have a bevy of information, and you really have to go to the people who he fucks with the most. Is the street. I just don't hang around those kind of people. I don't.
We want this on camera.
I don't commit crimes. I don't rob and steal, and I don't go out and do any of those kind of things.
We'll talk about.
To be around them and their lifestyle.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Ready to go? Let me know when you're ready.
You ready?
Okay. Yeah, I got a couple of. Got the fan quieted down. Okay, we'll go. I want to back up a little bit. During that, when Stroman dropped the drugs at your feet, you're sure that it came out of his hand. They were dropped by him.
He literally pulled it out of his pocket and went and goes, "Oh, look, what's that?" And I go, "The drugs you just dropped. There's kids around here. You should pick them up."
Okay.
And he goes, "She knows what it is."
So
and then
came out of his hand.
Then I was arrested and put in handcuffs.
Came out of his hand.
Yes.
You never possessed those drugs at all.
No.
You weren't in the park to sell drugs.
No.
You didn't possess any drugs like that.
No.
So I just want to get that because we kind of skipped it. We assumed that there was no possession or anything like that. So.
And has that been said in a sentence yet? Like, you just said yes, no, yes. But in a sentence, in your own words, can you repeat that also?
Oh, are they your drugs?
No, sir.
Okay, you never brought them to the park?
No, sir.
Okay, great. And you've never sold any drugs in the park?
No,
ever?
sir.
Okay, great. But I want to. That's so. Just to be anybody listening or watching this knows for a fact that the drugs that you were found with that day didn't belong to you. You weren't selling, and it's your opinion and your observations that they came out of Stroman's hand.
I have even beyond that have gone through the last 3 or 4 years of all the city meetings regarding drugs and crime in parks, and this park is in the bottom 5 park. It's one of the 3 safest parks in Long Beach. There's never been a drug arrest there, a drug anything there, and it's never mentioned. Then now you have all these parks where they have needles, huge problems that are residents are going nuts that they're saying they don't have police for, but yet this guy's in a park that's never even mentioned. It's one of the safest ones in Long Beach. Why would he be there for me?
I live a mile away from that park. I've played with my kids and my grandkids.
Then you probably know Bruce and Tom and them. They're the bums that
you know
everybody feeds there.
I'm one of those guys that
feeds
attention
them,
to my
gives them.
kids.
Oh.
Well, I've
People bring
probably
coats.
seen them. I've never met
And
them.
they bring coats. They hang out in the back right there. They bring them coats
I've
and
seen-
food and.
I've seen the flood control channel. I've seen some of the little.
Those are the
little
spots where
spots
he's talking about.
there. Yeah. So I'm familiar with the area, and it's it's a nice park, and it's
And
right next to the YMCA.
they don't let a bunch of bums, but they've let a couple remain there.
Now, the reason why Stroman targeted you,
Yeah.
I'm assuming, I think you're assuming that he knew about your prior case.
Oh, well, I'm 100% positive that when he was given my name by Mr. Kirkland O'Neill, whatever, that when he ran my name, he looked and saw that was a big bust. They look at and then.
So he,
And they didn't tell on the guy. Nobody told on that, and they ended up screwing me on that
well,
because
but
they wouldn't tell.
all he probably saw, I'm going to
yeah.
assume, since
Is
I
it
used
the
to be
bust?
detective, that he saw the record of the arrest, and
Yes.
he assumed, once involved, always involved. You're living in Long Beach again, and maybe you're still hooked up with that.
I
And so
cried,
I
dude.
think you assumed that he knew about the case and went into detail.
I told him in the park that day. I cried to him then. I go, if you're referring to that thing 10 years ago, I go, this is my first police. You're my first police contact since then. I don't know any of those people. I go, I just moved back here. I've been back for a few weeks. I go, I don't know any of them. I haven't seen him. I changed my whole life. Please do not do this to me again. I already got fucked. Go read the file. And he was, fuck you, all the same. Fucking, you're gonna.
Do the whole thing. Well, and let's just say, for purposes of argument, if you were involved in it,
Yeah.
and you had because you've got a definite opinion, you've got a definite defense to what. Let's just say you were that other person that he thought you might have been. You'd have to work for him, or you'd go back to prison. You'd
Correct.
have to do the things he wanted, or you'd go back to prison.
Even though I'm not, he still has told me nobody will believe you over me.
And you've been sober for how long?
I smoke weed, so I don't know if you call that
that's one of those
sober.
nitpicky rules. Let's just say anything more significant than that.
No, I am. For years, I worked at a rehab.
Now, Substance Abuse Foundation in Long Beach.
Yeah, I worked there.
Right there on 7th Street.
Yeah.
Familiar with
They've
it?
asked me to come back and work for them again. I didn't because Dr. Banner's kind of a creep.
Okay. Well, then that's the thing. People that run rehabs might need to be in rehabs, and people that are in rehabs might be better to run them. Who knows? But it's good. You've chosen to go help other people with the problems a lot of people have.
Yeah, I worked there for a while. I went out, but I mean, I have friends that they think I'm weird because on Christmas, I don't really get presents to people buying a day of Christmases. I usually get 12 pairs of jeans, and I get shirts and a pair of clean socks and underwear, and then I put $20 in the pocket, and I usually go around and find 20 random people on Christmas and give them stuff. I go and volunteer sometimes. I don't really give money to moms, but I buy them food whenever, if I have it, and I give it to them. I don't commit crimes. I don't hang out with criminals. I've never been convicted. Like, I don't go steal. I don't commit. I was arrested 10 years ago for that, but I mean, other than that, nothing. I don't.
You're a good.
I'm
you're
a
good
one
person.
percenter. That's what they did.
There you go.
My friend was pulled over just in Orange County, and the other officer called another officer to go, come here. We got a 1 percenter. Because he goes, it fucking works, I told you. And the other cop goes, yeah, for 1 fucking percent. You know what I mean? He goes, it's not working, it's 1%.
For one person, that's
But
still
he
good.
was, they congratulated me and they shook my hand and they said, we'd never meet you.
Yeah.
You know, because...
Well, and that's the thing that's where somebody making the accusations has an unfair advantage, because they haven't met you. They haven't met the 1%. They haven't met somebody who has had a horrible experience, has come out of it, has moved on, is helping other people, and is being a decent human being.
I mean, I got awards from the state for helping people to graduate when there was no program.
Yeah.
They asked me to work for the Cal State fight. They sent me to North Carolina to work for them, to go work it. But
Yeah,
I had
they
enough
don't do
hiking
that.
and fighting fires. That was a nightmare. But I did it.
That's a lot. That's why I became a cop. I didn't want to be a fireman. I didn't want to hike that much. So, okay, so John O'Neill, from what you know about him, he's got a bank robbery history, that type of thing. I don't know his criminal history, so I'm going by what you've heard.
From what I've heard, he was NLR, Nazi lowrider, skinhead,
And that's
white supremacist group from Orange County.
Okay.
He was convicted of bank robbery and did 12 years, from what I understand. And he paroled and with his wife and moved to lease this house to get away from Orange County. After the time out, not to be involved with, I guess, the lowriders and all that. Change his life. I guess prison was a changing point from him.
Did you hear that he informed on Nazi lowriders or anything like that?
No, I didn't know. No,
Okay.
I did. I
heard
heard
that wrong.
that he came to here to change his life, to be not associated with them, move to a different county where they're not present, and got fucked by moving in goddamn Stroman's neighborhood and Stroman.
What's the address of the house that Kirkland lives in? Do you know that one?
No, I don't know the exact address. I have
But we
pictures
can-
of it.
we can
I
find
have
it.
pictures of it. It's on the corner. It's on Atherton Street, and it's directly the house behind Starbucks, on the corner, right direct on Atherton and Palo Verde. It's the house behind.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know the neighborhood.
Okay, it's right there, and Stroman
Okay.
lives right down on the street, right there, right down the street.
Yeah. On the same street it's on, or
There's the little, yeah. I don't
Okay.
know how he somehow associated. Somebody told me with the people next door, and I don't know. This is all hearsay. The people next door are maybe his friends or something, and somebody said that he observed Johnny or whatever, and said the guy kept strange hours, and that since that's Stroman's neighbor, I'll run this. The new family moved in, and run this fucker and see who he is, whatever. And apparently, from what I was told, that he basically knocked on Johnny's door and told him, "You're my new bitch."
and so that began the relationship that's been going on for as far
That
as you know,
Johnny tried to
years.
kill himself to get away from him.
Okay.
Let me ask, and close to wrapping up, this is Steve Downing speaking again. You mentioned that you conducted your own investigations. Last week when you and I talked, you talked about a black box that Stroman keeps on his pickup and things that you found out about that black box. Could you just give us a summary of that?
Well, there's, I don't know if any of you guys, well, I'll tell you, yeah, I found out this black box, and the reason I found out about it was because, I don't know if you're familiar with Facebook and stuff like that, but
yeah.
If you look other people up or stuff like that, and you're not friends with them, when you log on to your account the next time, it'll say, hey, do you know this person? Because they were looking, you know how it is. Every time I open my Facebook all the time, and Stroman has 2-3 profiles on there. Super Dave, he has Dave Stroman, Super Dave, and some other one that has fucking rugby on the front of it. I forget the name of it. It's Dave something. But those are always going, hey, do you know this person? So it lets me know that he's constantly looking at my Facebook page because it's always asking me if I know this person. And so I've gone through all of his things, and there's a couple individuals I've met that live in his neighborhood that he's been terrorizing, raiding, and doing horrendous things to, that I had to familiarize myself with, because I don't know all the criminal element and all that stuff, and I kind of had to go into that little world and find these people and try to befriend them without them thinking I was a cop or I was fucked up, you know what I mean? And say, hey, I'm trying to get this guy. The only reason that any of them have talked to me is because they've all been fucked and terrorized by him so much.
So they have similar experiences.
God, way worse. And I've said, I see this one page, do you know this guy named Jesse Randall? And she said, what? And I said, yeah. I go, he just became friends with him on a page that he doesn't have that many friends with. Like, it's one of his main pages. It's one of the littler Facebook ones. So many. And she goes, that fucker lives on my street. Her house has been raided like 5 times this year.
And she immediately went over there and she found out he got to Jesse Randall, and Jesse has been the snitch for him now working. And when she went over there with this evidence, the girlfriend was appalled and gave her the phone and his computer, and she has all the stuff and information and contacts and all the chit chat back and forth with him and Stroman, and he admitted he pays me in dope, man. And so he has he has a thing in his trunk. My friend told me this when she watched him at the park that day, that he backed the car all the way up, he opened his trunk, ordered them all back, and then whatever he was doing, it was between the trunk, camera, and the ground. And she said, I don't know what it was, because you wouldn't let any he kept, stay the fuck back, and would not, and then, like I said, he showed up an hour later with all these pictures I never saw, this is the wrong file. Should please, this is mine, you know what I mean? Because I seriously thought I was screwed for those pills I had in my pocket, you know, and that was my file. And she said that he was back there in his trunk, and with the car backed all the way up in there, and ordered him away.
Well, let's go to Jesse Randall. So you find out about Jesse Randall through your own investigation.
Yeah.
And so Jesse is working as an informant for Detective Stroman, doing what he wants him to do, that type of thing. And Jesse gets paid in drugs.
Yeah, and a lot of other people. And even if you go on the internet, I've read 2 or 3 cases on the internet from other informants and other complaints against Stroman that all of the people that were arrested say firsthand they saw them right then and there pay the informant in dope, not money. Mm-hmm. And it's on record. It's in the paper. It's in the court. You can get it on. You can Google it.
Okay. So this black box. That now the understanding is that Stroman has this black box. He has drugs in it that he can pay his informants with.
I was told that at all times he carries a box in his trunk, and I said, then we need to call on him and see if they'll pull him over, because there's no reason for him to be driving, because it's safe to assume that if he's in, my friend tells me he's in a trunk, somebody else tells me this information 10 months later, because he had a little bag with a little bit of dope in it that he threw on the ground. It was a little tiny bit. And then that turned into a pyramid, like I was having a meth stand.
So by the
in the
time
park.
the photograph was taken, it was a lot more drugs. And
standard
a lot more
8 balls. This is your teeners, and this is down here what we call your dubs. Mm-hmm. I was like, are you? I wanted to smash him in the face and strangle him.
When you saw that picture, you had never seen that stuff in your life.
I told my attorney, they gave you the wrong file. He straight went back up there. Oh, we got the wrong for the lady was checking the thing, the numbers, because there's no name, their numbers, and she was like, "No, this is your file." He came back. He goes, "This is yours." I go, "Fuck you!" In court, I was like, "The fuck? Where's my pills? I had pills in my pocket. I didn't have this." And I know. And I stood up and I said, "You fucking charged me with what I had. I'm not charged. No, this is bullshit." Yeah. And still smiles, smirky little fucker. He walks by you. I won't believe you over me. I'm a decorated officer. Fucking your word shit compared to mine. No, I don't believe you. You're a convicted criminal.
Yep. So put you on the defensive, put you where you're at today, and with a court date pending, and we'll see what's going to go on. Hopefully, we'll get the right information, the transcripts, the other information that's out there. Everything you talked about today most everything can be confirmed with other paperwork, with like the checking out the money on the Saturday. There's going to be a log. There's going to be a person that's there. So
they don't even have my court stuff. They can't even look at it. They're saying,
the court doesn't lose that. Oh, the last thing, the court reporter Stephanie Zumbo, is she a friend of Stroman's as far as you know, or do they flirt, they talk, they might be friendly?
Stephanie Zumbo is a court reporter, but I have from other people that I know when they got arrested by Stroman and they were going to court. I have been to Long Beach court and wore wigs and gone to court to observe and see how he acts, what he does, because like is he this way with everybody, or is he just pissed because I wouldn't do what he said?
Yeah.
And I have noticed that the prosecutor is the same prosecutor that's on his thing, and when I look him up, she's the one that accommodates him and recommends it, and all the newspaper articles. And they're extremely chummy.
Okay, so he's chummy with the people in the court and all that?
No, the prosecutor.
Okay, and that's, what's her name?
I don't know her name, it's on the papers, but
Okay.
she also seems to be the same prosecutor that handles every Strowman case.
Interesting. So that'll be that's another resource for information about those cases
Well,
and the
yeah.
evidence and that type of
And
thing.
I've just seen her, like, I've seen her interact with everybody else. They're more chummier than normal. Than, oh, here's your evidence, in my opinion.
Not just a working relationship. More
In my,
friendly.
they're just chummy. Like,
Okay.
I haven't seen her be all heads in and with anybody. Like, I just noticed that they seem to have
Good
a
job.
bit better attachment.
Okay. I'm sure that.
I know, and I never get out of my house in the daytime because I don't leave the house when he works, and this is my one day out of the house, and you guys have sweated me
Sorry, you
underneath
had
these
to spend
lights.
it with us. Any questions that you have before we
No,
wrap it up and go off camera?
I just like to thank you, and I'm glad I got in contact with him through his articles in the paper because it's been like a losing battle at every turn because even in court, like, dude, you can't even get your own records, you can't get your own shit. Everything's been and nobody. He's always told me, you're done. No one's gonna believe you over me. No, you're done. Everything has been so difficult, and I'm just grateful that I have opportunity that somebody's listening and somebody's because he's a crook with a badge in my opinion. Because he shouldn't be. I mean, nobody should be able to produce all those kind of drugs and that kind of shit when you don't even have them to photograph and take pictures and say their mind.
Yeah.
Ms. Ritchie, thank you very much.
Thank you.